publishers over at Wikid Publishing, and I'm joined by a couple of the Wikid creators today. Welcome, guys. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Jeremy Lott. I'm the creator of Movie Men that is currently in fulfillment from Wikid right now.
I am Tank, Heavy Tank ZA on Twitter. I am the writer and creator of Dreams of Peace, Acts of War, to be published TM soon by Wikid Publishing.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate it. I appreciate you joining us on this Saturday morning. What are you guys up to today? What do you guys got going on?
Well, this morning I was writing about a werewolf attack. That
was. I hope it wasn't against you.
No, I mean, because if the werewolves are real, we're screwed.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, there was a thing that we talked about this on a previous show. There was a thing that happened. There was a thing that people get where they get too much hair in the wrong places called werewolf syndrome.
Right? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so in my telling, that's just a thing that some government engineered so that they could cover up something else, which is much, much worse.
Nice. That's a fun premise. I like that.
Yeah. So, and the werewolves are actually more like sort of werewolves meet Bigfoot, kind of. I mean, like I decided to sort of mash them up.
Werewolves meet Bigfoot. How does that work?
Well, so the idea is that the werewolf is sort of like a branch off of the hominid family, right? That survived, and they look they're related to us distantly, but they look rather wolf-like.
Oh, okay, interesting.
That's the idea. One of the ideas of Bigfoot is that it's actually related to us somewhere along the great chain of being.
Right, like how Neanderthal died out, but it'd be like another type of hominid.
Or there was like Neanderthals. There were what were called, what I'm not making this up, some anthropologists call hobbits.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those guys.
There's just a bunch of different, similar to human but not exactly human creatures. Though part of our DNA is actually Neanderthal. It's like 3% of our DNA.
Really?
Yeah, according to science.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Hey Cody, how's it going?
Going pretty well. It seems like you guys are on the lycanthropic topics. How's it going?
Lycanthropic topic, nice. That's a good rhyme.
Very good turn of phrase, sir.
Nice, man. Yeah. We're just talking a little bit about Jeremy's writing about wolves this morning.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's on theme. Getting there, the month's getting close. It's definitely the fall season. The stores are all trying to sell the Halloween candy and such. It's getting there.
Interestingly enough, this side of the world, people have switched over to start selling Christmas-related stuff as well, because we don't have Halloween or anything like that here. But most of the stores are already gearing up for Christmas sales, so you're already seeing all the Santa-related paraphernalia going up.
Wow!
Why do you have Halloween?
It's not something we've ever had.
Okay.
It's a cultural thing. So South Africa in and of itself is a very, very different country from most countries. I mean, you guys will come here and you will be like, "What? It's December? It's summer? What the fuck?"
There you go.
So maybe it's just not the right mood for it in October.
It's not that.
It's not fall.
It's just completely, when you think about all of it, it's just something we never had. It's a completely different cultural thing. So people have tried to implement it. Some neighborhoods have it. Based on,
but it doesn't take off.
But it's one of those things that just never took off. Yeah, it never took off.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. Huh? Are there any like U.S. or other holidays that you guys have appropriated and kind of do embrace?
The only one that I wouldn't necessarily call it a holiday, I would just call it a stupid, senseless waste of money, is Black Friday.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Wow.
No, but no. It's not. It's not like where these guys are actually having actual specials. The first year we had it back in 2016. Yes, there were some specials, but every year subsequent to that, if you take a notice to any of the stores we have this side, about in October they start actively marking up a lot of their things. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
talking
there
about
you go.
40, 50, 60% markups on a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of their items. And come Black Friday, they just drop them back down to their normal prices they were prior to this. Look, we've got specials. And
Those
then what
bastards.
happens there? No. One of the major companies, MTN, they're a cell phone service provider. They were actually recently sued and taken to court by the Advertising Standards Authority of South Africa explicitly for false advertising because somebody noticed the increase in prices prior, and then come November, whatever the date is, I don't really remember, they just noticed that the prices now just dropped back to what the prices were actually in October. And
Wow.
hence, ergo, special means sorry, you actually just tried to sell us the same thing at the same price and not actually provide any sort of specials whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a total artificial price cut right there. Just an illusion.
Yes. But
Wow.
Here's a question for you. Do you guys have the VAT or value added tax?
yes, it was recently raised to 15%.
Okay, because VATs make it really like they actually ended up sort of quietly raising the prices of things and making it very difficult to do a lot of discounting.
Well, that's the VAT tax. Then we've got various other taxes. So we've got an
Sure, yeah,
electronics,
absolutely. I'm just
we've got
saying
an electronics
VAT
levy tax, a sugar tax, a carbon tax, a this tax, tax your mother's breeding tax, all those kinds of things.
I'm just saying that's are the enemies of sales. That's all.
Yeah. But to get back onto track of the actual thing while we're here, not talk about politics and tax and all those things. In terms of creation, I've been in between quite a few things. I've been speaking to Dan Sacro of Mythoverse and Adobe Kroger. He's been helping me with quite a few things in terms of transcribing my second person present tense writings for the Dreams of Peace Acts of War novella to past tense, which is apparently more palatable for folks that side. I don't know because I've stated it numerous times. Literature this side is written present tense, so we read it like that, we present it that, and that's how we write.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, that's all happening. There's two other things that's happening. There's a small movement coming with the first project, volume 1, and if that's successful, they'll carry over to volume 2. And I have started on a third project finally, which was a long time in the making, and I just need to sort out a few things, law related things, and once that's sorted out and I've got character art up for this will be revealed. I'm not making the same mistake I did with the first project where it was announced way in advance with no art to show for it whatsoever. Artist wise, friend here from South Africa who's also a very talented artist, Killbox83 over on Twitter. He'll be doing the initial character art for me again, and we are also concepting some of the weapon art for this. Nothing crazy or weird. This is going to be a bit more balanced, more real world take, but the reason I got him on weapon design is the two characters that will be featured prominently in this will be wielding swords again. Yes, because duh. And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to reveal about this. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be another prose work, so don't expect a comic just yet. I'm still sorting out logistics on those going forward, but I think if everything works out, people will be interested in reading this.
Cool.
Nice, man. That's awesome. I'm excited to see more about that. That's you're always doing some work on some projects, man.
My mind has to keep moving, otherwise Otherwise, self-doubt creeps in, and I just stop working completely.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've gotten that myself every now and then, man. It's tough but yeah, it's probably one of the hardest things I think in writing is that but fighting that doubt.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome, man. I'm like I said, I'm glad to see you're making progress there. And
I would like.
sorry, go
I would like to think so.
ahead. Nice. So what about you guys? How are you guys' projects coming along? I know you guys were both in fulfillment on Jack Irons and Movie Men, so it's guys probably both in the same boat, I would think,
Yeah, pretty much.
or similar boats at least, I would think.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go first. We've been getting those issues out. You guys have been getting those issues out. I'm super excited, starting to get people's reactions to them, which has been great. Got a couple reviews in, very kind reviews, which always makes me skeptical. But so far, people have enjoyed
So
issue number 2 quite a
you
bit.
said they weren't kind, or
They
oh
were,
no, they were kind. That's what made you
yeah,
skeptical.
that's what makes me skeptical. But
That's funny.
particularly on my writing, being kind to that. But nonetheless, so that's been exciting. We just saw somebody put a. We've had 2 of the pinups revealed, which is great. We're still waiting for the other 4 to get revealed as they start going out. We've had the Tracker Top Predator pinup get revealed, and I got to see it next to the book and stuff. So it's a pretty nice little poster that you guys sent out. It looks great, and
It looks like the quality, in terms of condition, carried through. Did you think, or?
yeah, that second, but his replacement issue
Mhm.
there that came through great. It looks like, and the print came out great. It didn't look like there was anything on it either, and that's wonderful. And our little business cards got through too. Thank you, love
You're
that.
welcome.
So we've had that revealed, which is great talents. It was J. Paul Chic at Chicopedia on Twitter. He did the inks. At Paul Billick, 2D Spaceman on Twitter. The colorist for Shinobi Sasquatch did the pencils on the tracker piece, and our own That Crafty Foxy, Ginger Foxy, colorist for Changeling, and Sporkman did the colors on that piece. And yeah, it's just such a killer piece. I was so happy to finally reveal that. And then we revealed earlier when you did the first pinups the family portrait, the 4 Horsemen piece by Carl Rowe of Deathsworn fame, and S.E. Tonks, who's a wonderful indie colorist. And I'm just excited that those are getting out. Folks are finally able to see those. I've been sitting on those pieces longer than I've been sitting on issue number 2. So that was very cool. I think people are going to enjoy them too. We got 4 more coming. I can't wait to see those as they're spoiled. And
Wow.
issue number 2 is, I think it's being well received, and I think it's getting out to folks. We'll have to figure out the numbers that you guys have shipped out already, so I got an idea,
Mhm.
but I think that's going really, really well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we're still getting books out. We're gonna get some more out today after the podcast.
Nice. There you go.
But yeah, steadily moving along, getting them all out there.
Yeah, it's quite a few, so it's
Oh
going
yeah.
to take some time. I get that.
Yeah, exactly, man. But how about you, Jeremy? Have you been getting some good feedback yet, or?
No, everyone hates it. Yeah, no, it's I I haven't there's been a few reviews now
Nice.
gotten out there, and it's all pretty positive. And the reason I've done a lot of writing. I mean, I'm a writer by trade, but I'd never done a comic before this, and this was literally just the first comic that I wrote, and I'm surprised that it's uh, been received as well as it has. Not that I don't think I did a good job. It's just that I'm really new to this, and that's I'm really liking that people are liking that.
Yeah, no, that it's pretty awesome, man. It's a really great reception, I think, because it's just interesting to see how it's all starts pouring in as the books start, shipping out.
Yeah, and
So,
one of the things that caught me off guard was that so we had an original art. We had a couple original art tiers with this. So one of them you could just get the comic and a sketch, and another one you could get what was called all in premium, where you get the comic and the pinups and the T-shirt and the sketch and a sketch, right? And so Doug did some art for that, and I saw most of it before he sent it out to people. But then Jeremy Peerbloom posted this one really, really, really good picture of Venus that Doug had done, and I want to see if he can do something based on that as a pinup for the next issue.
Interesting. Yeah. What kind of a pinup would it be?
Here, I can find it probably pretty quickly. It's just a picture. Like what I wanted this time, what I did is the stretch goal for people is they get a movie ticket, and that was great. But now they have they have their movie tickets. Next time I'd like to do something other than a movie ticket as their stretch goal, and so I think I want to do a version of this pinup as a stretch goal next time. Second, let me see. I'll find it and then we'll see if we can do a screen share. Boom.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so how do I? Can you give me the screen? I'll see what
Should be able to do it at the bottom of your screen. It should say near the settings, share screen.
Share screen.
And similar to Hangouts, you select which window you want to use.
Okay. All right.
And then it should pop up.
Okay.
But you need to have it in its own separate window as opposed to a different tab.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see what I can do here.
Okay.
Application window. That work? Chrome tab.
But yeah, no, we're getting the books out, so hopefully I'll give you guys both an update on how much we've got right now. Oh, Jeremy locked screen. There we go.
You see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's great, and I'd like him to basically do a version of that, except colored and all that other stuff. And next time, that would be the stretch goal for people if we get to 100 backers or something.
And which character is that again?
Her name is Venus.
Venus, yeah, okay.
So,
I knew it wasn't Tess.
No, it's not Tess.
Okay, nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really, really like this, and I was just so taken with it. I said, let's. I'm gonna talk to him about it. Doug right now is knee deep in this play that he's doing, but after that, I'm gonna go to him for that. So I'm gonna stop sharing.
He's doing a play.
Yeah, I think it's associated with his church, but I'm not sure. It may be something.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So he's acting, or
I don't know in the exact nation of Minnesota what all they do there. So
it's you never know. There's a lot goes down.
Yeah, they're too friendly for me.
Oh man.
So another thing that happened this week is I finally finished the script for Movie Men Meets Sporkman.
Excellent, dude.
Which will be the following.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I was very glad to get it done. I was on a plane flying back from a business trip, and I said, "Let's see if I can just power through it," and I did. And I sent it to the sport guys so they can okay the dialogue because that was one of the things. I want to make sure he doesn't engage in any unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
So I get that done, and once they okay it, then I'm going to send it over to Doug, and we're going to get working on Movie Men Meet Sporkman. And I don't have a good ETA on that yet because we just get him working on it and get that going. And once we wait in, we'll have a better idea. The other thing is just in terms of crowdfunding, there are sort of limited windows in the year where it makes sense to crowdfund, and other times when it doesn't. So if you're doing it after October, don't bother basically until February.
I'll give you one exception that I just thought of, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it could work. You do a Santa Christmas themed comic in Indiegogo. There you go.
At some point, there's a different version of Santa Claus. He's not Santa, but I mean, it's in
Compass, right?
Not in the Basque area of Spain and France, right? Very different character, and it's the idea is he's a Santa-like character, but his origin is that there were all these giants that existed in the sort of Basque region, Basque country, and when Christianity came around, most of them killed themselves rather than submit to the Christian God. But this is the one that was okay sticking around. It's very different than what you think.
Sounds like a cool story though. I like that.
Yeah.
Man, you have like a million stories in your head,
Yeah,
don't you?
I do. But so I like to work with Ibai on that one when he's available, and we could definitely launch it in that period.
Yeah, I wonder what time Ebi's gonna be getting on. I'm gonna go send him a link just to make sure he has it.
Okay,
He's actually gonna be joining us today at some point.
cool.
Yeah, maybe he'll get on. I'll tell him get in here, man. I know you guys would love to chat with him because he's been missing out for a while.
Yeah,
I didn't even know he was off Twitter until like a couple weeks ago.
yeah. Well, I mean, Twitter's been kind of off him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with Mr. Marvel happened. I was like, wait, what?
Well, yeah, Marvel. It was just whatever. You got reported, and you get 3 strikes, and if you're out, if you're not a blue check mark, basically.
Hmm.
Versus Ibai, he got banned for something stupid, and then while he was trying to appeal, he came back in under another account, which you're not allowed to do, and then it was all
Damn, that sucks.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Huh.
then that was highly annoying. Is there like a sound that other people are hearing? Is it just
Yeah, I think it might be coming from Cody's mic, possibly.
I don't know.
It
My
came
mic's off and has been off.
it came in when it started when you arrived earlier.
Huh, that's
It
weird.
usually-
It shouldn't be anything. It's not showing that it's anything on my end. But
It usually happens
like a-
when mics are muted, so I found it
that could have been
Mm.
it.
with our voice
Oh,
over
yeah, 'cause
IP
it's
line
gone
could
now.
work as well.
Yeah.
It's
The
gone.
moment if you
And now
mute
it's
your
on
mic
mute?
or anything.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, yeah, that's totally it. That is so weird.
And now
Wow.
I'm unmuted. So there you go. I have the power to
That's what it
summon the
was.
sound.
No one.
Wow, that's a bit of a flaw, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that shouldn't be a feature.
No,
That's not a
Yeah.
feature at all.
that's a bug.
I'm
No,
muted, so let's
bug.
make a sound.
It's never a bug. It's always a feature.
They're gonna call it's our new mute alarm feature.
Yeah.
Great.
That'll work. I'll just try not to breathe while I'm flying.
Well, at least we figured out what it was, but that's very bizarre. Huh.
Huh.
But hopefully they'll figure that out and get that fixed for the next time.
Yeah, who knows?
Not everyone can have it on unmuted at all times, so I get that. You know,
Oh, yeah, you
Matt does that all the time.
You guys just had to listen to my dog going nuts for some reason. Then
Right, like when my dogs
I'm-
bark, I try to mute myself, and
I'm completely immune to dogs barking because we've got 3.
yeah, we have 2 at the moment, but at one point we had I think 3 or 4 ourselves, so that's they can be loud, that's for sure.
Yeah. Sounded like she got into something she shouldn't, and my wife was telling her not to, and rejected.
So you have a dog and a kid now.
Yeah,
Whew.
yeah.
What fun! Oh, what fun!
Dog and a kid and a wife, and the dog. So a female dog and a daughter and a wife. And when I grew up, it was myself, and I have 2 brothers and a dad and a mom. Obviously. So it was a very male environment, and now all of a sudden it's a very female environment.
You're outnumbered.
I mean, the escalation is off the chart.
The tables have turned on you, my friend.
Oh my gosh, so bad. And then
It could always be worse.
Then when I'm writing these stories, I create these like bit female characters that are just supposed to help move the plot along. Then they have taken over things. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
But so I'll obviously I'll shoot you some of the stuff when we're off. Not in open comms. But you've seen and heard little bits and pieces of Murder, this project that I've been working on, with an artist named Ramblet Forrester, and it's almost done. And so I got to figure out what to do with that. So it's possible I'll come to Wikid with that. We'll just have to see.
Nice, man. Yeah, and how's Blood?
Sorry, blood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Murder?
Yeah, murder is the title.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, murder.
Yeah, I mean it's still done. It's very close to done.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, and so you got to figure out how to move that at some point.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just it's incredible the amount of projects you got going at once, man. I couldn't handle all that.
Yeah,
Like keeping it all straight, man.
I sometimes confuse them for like no wait no that's in tarot. It's not in AUMF. I was wrong about that.
Yes, that's I would get me every time, man.
It helps to have like very distinct names for the projects, just so they don't run together.
Real quick, I wanted to say, Neo Star Production says, "Movie Men meets Sporkman." Sign me up.
You got it.
But yeah, what have you guys been up to? In general, anyone seen any movies lately? Anyone catch Spider-Man or anything like that? Or are you guys sick of the MCU at this point?
I'm
I,
burnt
uh,
out.
I've tried.
I'm burnt
I
out.
tried Far From Home just yesterday.
Really?
I tried Far From Home. I had to
Really?
stop it
Okay.
again and again and again and just keep taking breaks. I still haven't
God,
gotten
that's awful.
through it.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I don't mind Tom Holland. I mind the writing so far. It's just uninteresting, and it's a teen drama. It's not for me.
Finish the movie. I'll say that.
Okay,
It gets
I
better.
hope so.
The plot
Okay.
about halfway through thickens. I'll say that.
Yeah, I barely got about to that point. I'm about
Yeah. I could
45
see your
minutes in, and
problem
I've
with.
stopped about 4 times. So I'll get there hopefully. I do want to watch it just to have watched it, but yeah, I mean
But no,
it's fine so far. It's just not my cup of tea.
cup of tea. Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise though, I got a puppy, so that's been kind of taking up
Aw.
my time. Yeah, a little.
Can you share us
little
any
Alita.
pictures?
Yeah, actually, I can.
That'd be
I've
great.
got one. Let me see if I can make that easy on us. However, get one from this morning. But yeah, it's been fun. She's not even 3 months old and dealing with the puppy stuff. So
So
that's
did you
an
get
issue.
did you get the puppy through your work then, or is it unrelated?
No, well, I guess was the inspiration, but no, the I got it through the shelter.
Oh, nice.
I
That's
needed a life
great.
change, and so far it's
Always
been a
good
good
to get.
one.
Really? Oh, that's good to hear you. I'm glad you got a shelter dog. That's always a positive thing,
Yeah, let's see. Select
when you can
window
help a little guy
screen.
out who needs some help.
Yeah.
And okay, so guy or girl, and what's the name?
StreamYard. The name is Alita.
Alita, nice. I think we can all
Yeah.
infer what gender after from there.
Well, my question is, cannot allow. I don't want to allow permanent. Firefox sharing indicator. So no, I want Mozilla, but since I'm on StreamYard, it says StreamYard. But if I switch to another, window, will it
Mozilla?
show that other window?
Oh, Firefox. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
let me go ahead and
I've never heard anyone call it Mozilla before.
it doesn't matter to me.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Let me go. Let me drag this out. Make it a separate window. That should do it. It should do it. Oh well, I probably have to start the process again.
Right.
Share screen. But yeah, no. So that's been kind of absorbing a lot of my life.
3
work
months
too,
though.
so.
That's a tough age for a puppy because that's a lot. That's when there's a lot of work to be had. To be
Yes.
done.
Yeah, for sure. I got her when she had only been at the shelter for about a week. I did bring her
Wow.
home at that point, but I had got her and her
That's
stuff.
cool.
I had to wait for her spaying and such, and yeah, it's been. This is the second day of week 2 I've had her, so that's pretty nice. Gosh darn it, has block screen. Click the screen icon in your address bar to allow access.
Sounds like you're hacking into like the White House or something. Jeez.
I know, right? What are you talking about? I guess you folks will be forever in limbo on this dog. She's a shepherd rot mix with a little bit of healer, I think.
Okay.
At least you didn't get like a tank or like a soldier type. I always go for the healers of the group. You always need a healer.
Yeah. Camera notification away, permanent, blah blah. God damn, it's giving me the rigmarole. All right.
Well, we'll get it up on Twitter later, maybe. Is it on Twitter?
A few pictures.
I can pull it up. I could pull it up for you.
Just
Sweet.
nothing recently, like today's no, but like
Mhm.
last week I had something posted. I
That's
just
good
had
enough
yeah.
me.
Here,
That'll do.
let me bump, and I'll
Here we
shoot.
go. I think I found a little sleepy pup.
Yeah, it probably did. There you go.
Let's share
Aha.
sleeping pup.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, totally. I know which one you're
Hmm.
talking about. All right. Browser's blocked. Click the screen
And
icon
bam.
access.
There we go.
Sleeping
There we
pup.
go. Yeah,
So cute.
that's her. She's
She's so
adorable.
adorable.
She is, and she's eating cardboard now. That's a good girl.
Ah.
Stop
Oh my
doing that.
god. Okay, so are you trying crate training or not? No crate
Yeah, I'm
training.
doing a little bit of crate
Yeah?
training.
Nice.
Yeah, especially because of my work. She's gonna spend some time in a kennel while I'm working, and
That makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, so
it'll
it's
be
just
good to help socialize with her
Yep.
to other dogs.
Yep, exactly. Which I need because I think she's gonna be a big freaking monster,
Ah.
and
Oh my god.
I want a nice big monster.
Hey, they don't call her the battle angel for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the stream has had its requisite amount of cute.
Exactly.
Yes.
We've had our
Yes.
dose, which was much needed for today.
Yeah, no, that's been the main thing. Besides making sure everything's running smoothly with getting the colored pages in for Cactus Coyote and
Nice.
trying to finish out these last 2 weeks on a strong high note. We've almost reached triple sevens, so I think that'll be pretty cool. I'll be excited
Nice,
to
man.
get that far,
Gotta
but,
keep pushing it, man.
Yep, exactly.
Get on as many streams as you can. You got any
Yeah.
more streams lined up?
I have one more for Thursday, but always open and very much looking. I did
We can
one.
always do one, for another camping countdown type
Yeah,
situation.
exactly. I did
I have a
fan
question.
speak on what day was that? Wednesday. I did fan speak, and that was kind of fun. But yeah, go ahead, Tank. Excuse me.
No problem. Are the memes helping?
They are getting exposure. So I would, from that base level, I would assume very much so. They're getting more exposure
As
than
long as
most
people are
of
seeing
the.
link,
I
that's
don't.
the good thing.
Yeah,
I love your memes, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The link clicks, I can't see those analytics. Only you can. But I'm assuming the exposure at the very least is helping, and it's getting people thinking about coyotes, and then they see the book, and maybe they'll take a look.
Nice. Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can't remember where I was just talking about it, but we were saying that the visual aspect can really draw. I think it was me and Tink were talking about it maybe earlier. The visual aspect can really draw in the eye.
Yeah.
It just for whatever reason it makes it easier to do that. So
Something just adds a lot more fun to the mix.
true. Yeah. Maybe adding that fun element is great. Yeah.
Hey, check this out. Look at this. Haha. Hey, let me throw a meme back at you. It's there's a reason that the
Let's have a
European
laugh.
there's a reason the European Union banned them.
Oh
How dare people
Because
have
they're
fun.
effective.
Man, we definitely need Ebi to comment on that one for sure. But yeah. So let's see what do we got in the chat here. So MCU doesn't hold much interest for me anymore. There's only a few heroes to look forward to. Yeah, that's interesting. Is anyone interested? Is anyone looking forward to Blade? Because I kind of am.
Who's playing Blade?
Mashara Ali, I believe his name.
Okay.
He plays Diamondback. I mean, not Diamondback. He was in
Yeah,
Luke Cage.
he played the Black Kingpin in Luke Cage. I don't remember the character's name either.
Not Diamondback, but
It's gonna come down to
it's
the
a snake
writing.
name. It was a snake name. It was
Okay, I thought-
something, I don't know.
Cottonmouth. Was it Cottonmouth?
Yeah, Cottonmouth.
Ah.
Okay, yeah, he's
Yeah.
a great actor in Luke Cage.
Yeah, he
it's-
was. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a
Yeah.
shot. Look,
Yeah.
For me, it's the writing.
Yeah.
Blade
don't-
is one of those movies that I have a very fond connection to. Even if people don't really like Blade Trinity, I unironically think it's a good film. I think it was a fun way to finish off the original Blade series with Wesley Snipes. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to give this one a shot. It's going to come down to the writing. I've seen Luke Cage briefly. I wasn't really too interested in a lot of the TV series for the Marvel things on Netflix.
Hmm.
The main draw for me was Daredevil because that was very good. I saw the first season and I was like, yes, I want to see more. 2 was good, 3 was good. Jessica Jones, I watched about halfway. I
Hmm.
never really gave Iron Fist a chance because it was just way too slow.
Don't worry, you didn't
Punisher,
miss it. Anything.
No, he was
Punisher
part
had
of
a couple of
it.
missteps.
He was like the whole time. You're
And
like,
whiny.
you should just go to the bathroom. Just go to the bathroom.
Iron Fist was definitely the weakest of all
Constipation
the.
face.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
bad. I mean, the whole time I'm like, you need the boot.
Man, and then they made the Defenders series all about his storyline, which was not great.
We still haven't seen a violent, like the closest we got was Captain America and like Winter Soldier. The closest we've gotten to a violent Disney MCU movie. So I'm worried about Blade in that respect. I'm worried about
It's already been confirmed
any of the other stuff
PG-13.
as well, but Blade in particular, he's chopping off heads. But at least they explode into ash, so they might not mess with that too much. I don't know. I know they want a PG-13 Deadpool if they're going to use him.
Oh God,
and
no! I was
things
just
like
about to bring
that.
up
So
Deadpool as a saving grace, but if you
that's
reminding me of
what I
that,
don't know. What is the first that's coming out? Like I guess Falcon and Winter Soldier might give us a clue, but that's a
If you
TV
want
show.
to see
I really don't
PG
know.
Deadpool, go watch Once Upon a Deadpool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, honestly.
So yeah,
And it didn't work.
I don't know with Disney's hands on all this now, and I really have lost interest. I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. I'm going to enjoy the Doctor Strange film. I'm excited for Shang-Chi because they're going to bring in the Mandarin, and he should be the Mandarin, which will be
The real
nice. And
one.
kind of they can do a callback a little bit to Iron Man 3, which is about as much Iron Man 3 as I'll ever need. I'm not super excited for the future of the MCU. A lot of people are excited for Moon Knight, but again, I don't know what they're going to do with violence with Disney, and
So
I have
it's gonna
no
be on
idea.
Hulu. Did you hear
Yeah,
that? Hulu can
so
do
that should
mature
help.
stuff, so yeah, it should help. Yeah, but who
It
knows,
should
right?
help, but it's the brand tainting. I mean, they took away Happy Meal toys because of the slight problem, the bad food rep that McDonald's was getting at the time, and they just recently started doing that again because the bad press has ran down. So they're really protective of their child-friendly image, but I don't know if that's still the case. I don't, time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Time
No, that makes
will
sense,
tell.
man. Huh? Jeez.
I think first of all, the Marvel, it's different things, right? There's the television aspect of it, and so there was like the Netflix thing that was its own thing, and I think that actually the way it was developed, Cloak and Dagger was sort of connected with that, even though
Mm-hmm.
it's free form. That's its own thing on the side. Then there was the movies, which that was its own thing, and then now there's going to be the the streaming stuff that Disney is doing that is kind of going to replace the Netflix, but it's going to have a different flavor to it, I think. And so there's not a combined big thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like I love with DC, they were going to try to do a DCU thing, and finally they're just saying, we'll just go back to making movies. Sometimes there'll be some connection, but we don't care about as much about the shared universe as just telling good stories with these characters. And I think that'll be a win because I don't think you can with this combined universe narrative that they got into the last Avengers movie. Like I don't think they're going to be able to build up to another big one uh, in a satisfying way. Period. So the individual pieces I may like. Will I go to see all of them as a completist? No, absolutely not. Um, you know, I'll just be a more discerning customer. It's like Disney Star Wars sucks. Okay, horrible, right? Bad, but Rogue One's a great movie.
I like Rogue One as well. I enjoyed that quite a bit, but a lot of people don't. There's a wide enough thing that as long as they can make the money off of it, it doesn't matter. And my hope is that exactly what you're saying is that this greater separation and greater degree of freedom will actually equal a greater degree of freedom in the artistic end. But again, I have no idea, and I do not trust Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look, I'm going to just put wait and see on it, like I do everything these days,
Yeah.
because what I've seen is these companies are relying a lot more on rage bait to promote these movies and TV series and everything. And I'm not going to add to that. I'm just literally adopting the approach of wait and see. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And I'm not going to give them any sort of praise based on either or, because I'm I'm burnt out. I'm over it. I'm
Make them
literally
earn it. No,
tired
I'm with you. Make them fucking earn it. They've
all
been
that.
they coast it too easily, and
Yeah.
then they get their win-win situation. If it does flop, then it's the fans' fault, and if it does good, then it's all on their end and nothing to do with the fans. And that's not sustainable. At least I hope it's not.
One thing I will say is
no.
interesting though. One thing I will say that's interesting going forward though is up until now all the TV shows that Jeremy was talking about have been made by as you said Marvel Television, who's run by Jeff Loeb, and then
okay.
there's of course Marvel Studios who does the movies, and that's run by Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
And all the upcoming Marvel Disney streaming TV shows are now going to be run by Marvel Studios as opposed to Marvel Television. So they're now
Oh,
going to be run by Kevin Feige as opposed to Jeff Loeb. So that's actually kind of a big deal in a way, in terms of just the direction they're likely to take it.
Yeah.
yeah, it is
So.
a big difference. I loved Jeff Loeb as a writer quite a bit. Long
Mhm.
Halloween's probably my favorite Batman story ever.
Really?
But that makes sense why there was the gritty end to all those Marvel shows as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
The Dark Knight influence there, and he did a lot of Daredevil actually too. Daredevil Yellow.
Oh nice.
He did he did
That's
quite a
cool.
bit, Jeff Loeb. I really do like his work.
Huh.
Usually with I believe the artist is Tim Sale. They usually work
They did
together
some
on
great,
everything.
great stuff. The only,
Really?
the only thing about Loeb that I don't like is he did the Marvel Ultimate thing. That didn't go very well, but most of his stuff is really good.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, they if you're looking for more of him, they said that even though they're not going to be doing the Marvel Disney streaming stuff, they have a big secret project in the works for the television side of their stuff. So who
Oh,
knows what that
interesting.
could be?
Is anybody hyped for Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin's He-Man?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm kind of
If Kevin
interested.
Smith is involved,
Kevin Smith and
Yes,
Mark
because-
Bernardin, yeah, they're the co-head writers.
yes, people that are actually passionate about the property.
Yeah,
That could potentially
That's-
be good.
that's what I'm thinking. A live action He-Man that could be like, not all camp. That'll be a trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
But maybe just enough camp.
I would be down for that.
Yeah, but I have no idea. I was just he was teasing a secret project with Mark Bernardin for a while, and eventually
Oh, that's
dropped
cool.
that it's He-Man. So I'm
Well, that's
kinda,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting some low tier Marvel character or something, but fucking He-Man. I was very interested.
Oh, I feel like if anyone's gonna try and pull that off, Kevin Smith would be the guy to try to do that and do it right.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right? Yeah. That's a beloved property. You don't want to get that one wrong.
Yeah, and he's a fanboy's fanboy. If
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
else, he's a corporate shill because of it. But he
Mhm.
definitely loves the properties and,
Bless you.
and all. So
You
I'm
know,
hoping that would carry over.
Yeah, I like Kevin Smith quite a bit.
Mhm.
on Kevin Smith though, when
But
sorry,
I said I don't always love everything he produces, but I'll give it a shot.
yeah, for the Supergirl TV series, the episodes he did were actually some of the best.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
I
They
know.
were truly some of the best written episodes they had in that series.
Yeah, I can see it.
I was glad he was just getting an extra directing gig, honestly, because they were just letting him be a face for a while, and that's all he was doing. But then he got Reboot also done, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I'm kind of excited for that to see how he finishes his basically his journey there. I think that's probably going to be the last of those kind of films he does. So I'm curious if that's probably coming out along the same time as Bill and Ted 2. So it'll be some fun buddy comedies again, which will be cool. It's been a little while.
Yeah, Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. I bought the Blu-ray collection of the first two,
Yeah.
so I can get ready.
Yes.
I love when Jeff is explaining what happened to God, and he's like, "They Melvined me."
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Is that in the second one?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I'm excited to see Keanu have fun again.
yeah.
Oh my God,
It's been a
yes.
long time since he's had fun. It's
And I believe what is it, Eric Weathers? Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
I do think that he's had like a lot of the martial arts stuff is fun to him. You know?
yeah.
Mhm.
But
Well, I mean, on screen, you know, he's supposed to be
kinda goofed on
dour
him.
or you know
Yeah.
dying or whatever recently a lot. And,
But it's cool to see him doing so many amazing projects, like
yeah.
from Cyberpunk to just all the movies and cameos he's doing, and it's just incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that he's
it's
not a piece
funny.
of shit about it. That's the
Well, yeah,
big one.
he's a great guy, and
Yeah,
it's just so interesting because
exactly.
we loved him in The Matrix, but after that, we kind of everyone in the pretty much soured on him, and he was just like this actor that was known as the guy with no, with no emotions. But then recently, after John Wick or I don't know what movie, he's had such a big resurgence, and now it's like he's the most amazing thing ever.
Well,
Yeah.
John
You know,
Wick, I mean, it wasn't thought people didn't think it was going to be that big a deal. Um, and then it was this huge hit that was completely unexpected, and all of a sudden he was hot again.
yeah, that's wild.
The
And
for the latter two Matrix movies, he didn't get much money. He actually took most of his compensation in terms of what is called, well, I think the term is directed spending. And so, like all the special effects people that worked for him, he bought them like SUVs. Um, and it was a lot of money. It was millions of dollars, right? And somebody asked him, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, "Dude, I have enough money."
wow. Yeah, that's fair. He probably made enough money doing the first Matrix alone
Uh,
to last a long time. Uh, hell, he's probably still making money on the Matrix.
Probably.
Oh, isn't there a Matrix
Reading thing is-
done or a Matrix 4 or something? I had
Oh
heard.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Matrix 4. Yep.
from what I will
Jeez.
sequel because they got all the actors that are still alive to go back to
Technically still
now-
alive.
my question is well the original between the original Matrix and Matrix Reloaded, I think it was called.
Yep.
I never really caught up with Matrix 2 effectively. That's why I said that. My question here is
Okay.
writing. How are they going to take the angle for this?
I have no idea because the Animatrix covered almost every other angle they could have done too already.
It had a pretty
Exactly.
fine final ending.
Yes, it was
Well, I guess
pretty
they kind of left it
final.
open-ended. You know,
Really?
Neo sacrificed himself, and the machines have peace, but will that peace last? That's kind of where they.
But
And,
then the Animatrix kind of showed that the machines have fractured into two factions. So that very last one, the one where they free the machine, and the machine drags the lady back into the Matrix after her body was destroyed, but he saves her mind. So that whole thing there proves that there is still stories to tell. But my question is, how are they going to do this? Are they actually going to go that route? Are they going to go the BS political route? We are going to reclaim the red pill from blah de blah, all that crap.
yeah,
That's the thing that worries me.
And
Is
will
it
Agent Smith
still
be back?
the Wachowski, I guess, sisters now? Is it
Yes,
still them?
that is right. Yes,
Does it really matter if the story's going to be good? Really?
the same writers.
No, it doesn't.
So
Exactly.
as far as I'm concerned, yeah.
And I've perused their Twitter parts or stuff. They don't seem to be too, how should I put this, overtly political in terms of, the BS discourse. I've not seen that much from their side. So
Yeah, not really.
I'm tentatively encouraged by that.
Yeah.
I mean, they just like the scale of their movies is just incredible.
Yeah, I do think that Atlas Shrugged, or that last one they did.
What was it? Atlas, not Atlas Shrugged. It was
Atlas something.
yeah, something
That
like that.
movie, I think it got a bad rap because
Mm.
it was very ambitious, visually stunning.
Oh, Cloud
The
Atlas.
Cloud
Cloud
Atlas, that's the one.
Atlas.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Cody.
They took another. It was another risky philosophical attempt, and
But it was good. I just think
Yeah.
the fact they
it's
just
long
juggled
as shit, and it's so interwoven, and there's a lot of different themes. It was probably
and I
too much
think
for a
that was their
mainstream audience.
downfall. I
But
think that was
yeah,
the downfall. They juggled a lot of narrative threads there. Ultimately, a good film, not great, not and and the biggest problem was people measured it against the Matrix.
yeah,
Hmm.
Instead of
I'm
judging the
guilty.
film,
Guilty as charged. I'm
and
there.
that is the biggest mistake I think audiences made with that film. They judged it versus the Matrix instead of judging it on its own merits.
Yeah,
If you
you're
judge
right.
it on its own merits, it's actually a very good film. It's not that bad, not nearly as bad as people made it out to be. Like Cody said, it does get along, it does drag, but
yeah.
it
But man,
it
so
makes
what? Some of the
cool.
themes hit in that, particularly the Japanese clone servant storyline. Man, that one hits heavy.
Korean.
Korean was it Korean? Yeah, I haven't seen that movie for like probably since a year after it came out.
Yeah. So
But that one really did hit heavy. And
yeah,
I
narratively,
really liked it.
was
They did really well.
it was a mind punch narratively, but it was good.
I saw
Yeah.
Cloud Atlas. I don't.
I implore anybody to go rewatch it and just throw away any preconceptions you may have had comparing it to whatever film and just try to watch it on its own merits. And then we'll come back and talk about it again.
That's funny. Yeah, it's a weird time we live in where there's a Matrix 4 on the horizon. You never thought that would happen.
Nope, I thought they were done.
Me too.
Animatrix was the whipped cream on top. That's all I thought.
But Hollywood is really, really, really into remakes and sequels.
True. Yeah, everything's coming back.
Yeah, you know, I like me a good sequel. I hate me a bad sequel.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, leave me cold. But I mean, I liked, you know, I'm a big fan of Ocean's 11, the one that we think of as Ocean's 11, and not the Frank Sinatra version. So I don't know.
Yeah. Reboots and overuse of reboots, sequels, sequelitis. That's a big problem in the industry. I kind of get where they do go from because if you take risky films that don't perform, I can get why the bean counters would get skittish on it, but that doesn't mean they should stop trying. The problem is they stop trying almost entirely after one failure, and it takes a large time frame before anybody even even tries to try to do another film again that's a little bit risky, a little bit different, and that's the biggest issue we have.
No, yeah, I totally makes sense. Yeah. Now it looks like we're getting close to the end of our hour here. Is there any more updates you guys want to go over, or could let us everyone know about for your projects at this time?
Absolutely, guys. If you want Movie Men through the Indiegogo, I'm closing it on Monday. You have between now and sometime on Monday, probably not that late, to order Movie Men. We're shipping it out now. We've gotten quite a few orders in the last week, and they'll be getting their stuff pretty soon here. And don't want to miss out on it. Get on this. Get on this.
I didn't want to cover your face up there while you're talking. But yeah, please do go check it out, guys. It's a hilarious comic. It's super witty and got a lot of fun action adventure to it. So it's a good one to brag up. And so I put up the link there. Just head to that link that you see on the screen, and you can still pick it up. And you still have a few days for that. So please go do that.
Indeed.
And any other plugs you guys want to put in before we go to where people can follow you guys online?
Well, of course, Cactus Coyote still running. A little under 2 weeks left. We could make a Hail Mary in these last 2 weeks. That's my goal, my intention, and we need all the help we can get to do so. If you want more of Ironverse Comics' special brand of Weird Space Western, that's the way to do it at the moment. I'm really excited to hear more information on people's reaction to Jack 2. Always find me and tell me what you think. I want to know. I want to improve.
Yeah.
And I want issue number 3 to just be a complete knockout. So I need that info. I just want to give a special thanks to everybody for backing and getting us this far, being as patient as they had. Thanks to Wikid Publishing for facilitating all of this and allowing it to get out to folks in such a high quality representation. And been a heck of a journey, and I'm excited to continue it with all you wonderful comics fans.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. All the arcs in Cactus Coyote, from the first one to the Q Racer, and everything in between.
Oh, there's
So,
quite a few.
oh yeah, there's so much to look forward to. So I'm hoping that people get behind it.
Yeah, and we've got Plan A, Plan B. Is not the last to see a Cactus, even if we
Good.
don't reach the funding. But I'm still freaking hopeful we can do it. It just needs to hit the right button, the right spot at the right time, and there's still time for that to happen. So as long as that's the case, Ironverse Comics will keep pushing that bet.
Nice, man. Spinneroonie Town, here we come.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Where can people follow you out, guys, online, so that they can check out more of your information and adventures?
You can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Lott Diary.
Jeremy Lott Diary.
Yep.
Lot with 2 T's.
Correct. There's a lot of T's.
And what about you, Cody? Where can people find you online?
At Cowboy_Steel is where you can find me directly. Also at Coyote Cactus is Dollar Coins, the writer creator of Cactus Coyote. That's where you can reach him for questions or whatever. You can also find a free to read intro manga to Cactus Coyote on Tapas. Just type in Cactus Coyote space TAPAS. You folks will find that real easy. Also, if you're not aware of Jack Irons, you can read the free to read black and white of that too. Same place. Yeah, I think those are the best places to contact us currently.
Nice, man. And Heavy Tank, what about you? Where can we best find you at?
You can follow me on Twitter at HeavyTankZA. Beware of falling shit posts.
As they are numerous and plentiful.
Yes.
Oops. I did the at. That's fine.
It doesn't matter.
Quick question for Brett before I take off. He asked me if Spinneroonie is a reference to Booker T. Because if yes, he dig it. I dig it, sucker. It very well might be. That's a question for Dollar Coins. So I'm going to say yes because you like it.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. I appreciate you checking in on this Wicked weekend, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of it.
Oh, certainly will be. I'll be hanging out for a little bit.
Nice, man. Check in with the chat.
All right, take care,
Have
folks.
a good day with all of you.
Thanks, man. You too. Take care. And now we've got Mythoverse, and we're welcoming Brett McGowan into the studio. How's it going?
I'm gonna be by myself for the foreseeable future because Dan's still driving and I don't know where Matt is. But yeah, it's
Matt probably accidentally fell asleep. He meant to join the podcast. I know. I'll hit him up on Discord and see if I can wake him up.
Yeah. I met Matt Trin, not
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. I talked to Matt on Matt Trin on Twitter on Discord last night, and he said he had planned to make it to the podcast.
Yeah, maybe we should just call him by last name, just so everyone knows who we're talking about.
That's fine. I usually call him Matt Sulis. I usually just call him Matt B. That's his, I don't know. That's weird. I wonder why. I guess no one knows why I've been calling him that. His middle name is Brian. No, his last name is Bryant. Sorry. So that's why I call him that, Matt B. But yeah, I could just call him something else.
Actually, that's fine too, but whatever. But yeah, I got a couple updates as far as the Mythoverse goes. So here we go.
Awesome, man.
This is
Excellent.
from
Please let us
from
know.
Dan. So don't if you were following us on Twitter, let me double. I need to make sure I got the date for this right. All right, okay. So blah 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 blah. All right. As of the 12th, we had Adobe Game Commander wrapped up production, and Dan is working on getting the digital file put together over the weekend.
Nice, man. That's a huge congratulations, man. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, we got one of our books is done. I have no word on the state of Mythics, sadly. As far as Changeling goes, Victor's working on the last 10 pages, and Ginger's close to having it halfway done where the coloring and lettering is concerned.
Nice, man. Making good progress.
Yeah, so far we got a lot. Also, about 3 hours ago, Dan posted a pic on the Twitter with a whole bunch of the Maeve hoodies his wife finished.
I saw that. Yeah, those are looking really nice. Yeah. How are you guys going to be shipping those out?
Dan and his wife will be handling the shipping of those.
Nice. So are they going to just ship them out directly to the backers then?
Yeah, they're going to be shipped out. Yeah, the backers who backed for the hoodies, they'll be getting 2 packages in the mail.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, we said like Dan and his wife, they'll be shipping out the hoodies, whereas you guys handle the print media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the sooner the better. I guess the printer is super swamped these days. So as soon as we get all the files in, we'll start proofing them out. I was sending out the proof to the for the magazine to get it proofed, and I wanted to get it proofed this week, but I guess as soon as he can do it is the 27th.
Shit.
And that's from today. So I was like, geez, he must be super busy, man.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Looks like we are welcomed by another Wikid creator of Wrath coming into Go. It's Scott. Welcome.
Morning. I snuck in.
With your sneaky rage puppy sneak.
Hey Scott.
Yep.
What's that?
I thought you had a question.
No, he said hey. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
No problem. Just got back from a walk out to the local farmers market and back.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Michael, got a couple other things on the Mythoversus side.
Nice, man.
This is some stuff that Dan sent me. Aside from Adobe Kroger being worked on, he says Conley Chuck will be in the magazine. The next Narratis Mythologica is in production. And we're also working on development for a possible dating sim.
Is it what is it? What is that one? Dad Simulator or something? Or Date My Dad? Or anyone have any clue what I'm talking about?
No, but I've seen the KFC Colonel Sanders one.
Well, oh really?
Yeah, there's
Oh boy. But no, I was just kidding. I was just curious though. Is it like what kind of did you have in mind? Like do you date like Adobe or something, for example?
Well, if you're gonna date Adobe, you've got no chance with her if you're a guy.
Really, that's unfortunate. For some of the fellows out there with Adobe crushes. That's a tough one to take. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So does that come out in her character in the book?
Yeah, it does. So
okay.
Yeah, Adobe. She likes girls.
Yeah, is that the case with any of the other 2 characters? Or can you reveal that at this time?
Althea's bisexual, and Maeve, I can definitely tell you, is straight.
Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, that'll make for an interesting dating sim. You could even add some of the side characters in, of course.
Yeah, and we're also hoping to add more in from our other potential creators as well.
Hey, first Wikid game coming out, right? There you go.
Well, it's actually pretty. It's the beauty of this one is that it's actually pretty easy to coach because we're having the designs done by Raven Monroe.
Oh, nice.
Talented artist people should be following. She has her own book, her own comic coming out called Machi the Lazy Witch.
That
And
sounds like a fun title.
yeah, and it just so here's the thing, like about I think a few days ago, she was in the market for some emergency commissions, and Dan hit her up, and it just so happened she also had the software to code a dating sim.
I think
That's
Chuck was
pretty
also
awesome.
talking about doing like a Sporkman game.
Oh, really? Nice, man.
Could
Yeah, I
do some-
wanted to do a game, man, but I have no idea how to make game. Well, I made a game on uh, was it Advanced Basic or whatever whatever that show was. But yeah, no, I mean it's interesting to hear your ideas for the games and stuff. And even with some artists and other stuff behind it. So yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I could see that being a good, if not its own like Indiegogo or Kickstarter. I could see that as being like part of another Kickstarter race fund for and like more Mythoverse comics. Like it's like a stretch goal. Like we reach such and such, we can add in the game or something. You know.
if we were gonna, if there was going to be a Sporkman game, I think it should be done in the style of Earthworm Jim. The only problem is to get it done like that, we'd have to have Doug TenNapel supervising it. Well, if you're gonna code an Earthworm Jim clone, you might as well have the guy who made it do it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean,
yeah, that's interesting.
he might do it.
We should hit him up, be like, "Hey, man, we got an idea over here."
Yeah, that's a possibility. But yeah, I mean, so far there's a lot looking good on the Mythoverses side right now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's pretty incredible. Not only just the progress you guys are making, but just all the support you guys have.
Well, yeah, it's kind. Oh yeah, I mean that's I can't stress it enough, like how important it is to like have a good support network for your books. Something that kind of clicked with me very early on with the campaign was that it was more important that we had people who were reliable than people who had like quote unquote big reaches.
Mm-hmm. Better to have a small but loyal fan base than a large fan base that's not engaged.
Well, not exactly. It's just more like it's not so much. It's just more like I mean, like we could have gone to we could have reached out to one of the big YouTubers, gotten a push from them. Probably would have been funded within a day, but the snag that comes with that is that wouldn't have been our audience. The thing, at least with us getting, I mean, it took us the whole month to get funded, and we literally did get funded at the 11th hour. But you know what? At least every backer we got, we earned it with their hours.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. So it was more like you wanted to earn those your fan and create your fan base as opposed to just taking someone else's that's already there and trying to
pretty
build
much.
off.
I'm not saying you can't, and other people and your people can't have fan bases that won't overlap with yours. It's just more like it's better in the long run for you to build up your own.
It's more longer lasting to have a strong foundation of that you've built up.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, and clearly you guys have done that. So I mean, it's just going to be hopefully up and up from here.
Well, not just that. I mean, it's not. We didn't just build it up. It's still technically growing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, hell. I mean, even the best part is that I think the best part of it is just hearing about all the people who actually want to come and work with us now. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that must be fun to see all these people who are really finding so much to engage with in your work. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And what the thing I like most about it is just that The thing I like the most, the thing I like about it most is just that it's we're it's just the limitless potential we've got at this point. Like there's just like we're at a point where the sky is literally the fucking limit for us.
Man, that must be a good feeling for you. You know, it's like all the potential that you have.
Yeah.
Where if you this is interesting. This is another one that I remember. Jeremy asked for an interview the other day. I didn't get to ask it, but if you had any, like, you could do anything in the world, had like money was an option, where would what would you do? Where would you take the Mythoverse?
If money was, I don't know. I'd be.
Looks like we got a couple more creators with us.
About time.
Oh, were you waiting on me, little me?
Yeah, I was.
Looks like we got troubles here too.
Troubles here in the form of a gray wind on the horizon.
Thanks for getting there, man. I'm not good at carrying the show by myself.
Can you guys hear me?
Hey, I thought we did a good job, Brett.
Yeah,
I think we were doing okay.
You're all right.
Yeah, we can hear you, bye.
No.
Ibai,
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I have to. Oh man, it's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, same man. I'm sorry I've been away so long.
No, it's okay. I feel bad that I feel like we got you banned from Twitter.
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't. They were probably
Uh,
waiting on some excuse because it works all because of algorithms and reporting and whatnot. So nah.
I would
Yeah.
just assume that Ebuy's a busy man.
Well, that too. I mean, how is progress on Iron Sights 2?
Well, I'm currently on page 83, I think it is. So it should be done in like
83. How big of a book is this?
100 pages. I think it's a bit shorter than the original one. I think the original one, the first one was like 120 pages, something like
I
that.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit shorter, but it's also gorier and funnier. So I hope to make up for it.
Do we have a?
So what? Richard putting a little more black humor.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because of me or if it's because of him, but one of the reasons he hired me again because there was some controversy going on before the production began because not everyone liked my style and rightly so. So he was half thinking of hiring someone else for the art, but then he sent me an email and he told me, man, I don't know. I don't think anyone can draw this because you're unique when it comes to drawing kills and blood and gore. So I feel like in that regard, he kind of wrote the story for me.
I mean, I can't fault him for it. I mean, like when you work, like I've been working with Victor and Ginger for so long, I can't even imagine replacing them on Changeling.
Yeah, I can understand because when I was a kid and I got used to an artist, and then they suddenly changed for switching from for someone else. It always bugged me. Like Deathblow. You remember that comic book?
Like example.
Which one?
Deathblow by Jim Lee.
Death. I don't know.
Yeah,
I remember it existing.
It was okay. It was like probably one of the best early 90s image titles back in the day. And I remember, I think it was like the first 3 or 4 issues, they were drawn by Jim Lee. And suddenly, all of a sudden, he decided that he had a bigger fish to fry somewhere else. And, they hired Tim Saleh or Tim Sale. I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's Saleh. And it always bugged me how they changed artists midway, and I don't like that stuff. So I'm glad Richard didn't do it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and Iron Sights 1 was just. I think you guys did a great job with it. The two of you just your writing and art just melded perfectly. I thought, at least.
Well, it was a great learning experience. I mean,
really?
Thanks to it, I hope I'm a much better artist now.
Nice, man.
And speaking from experience, it is difficult finding a new artist.
Very true.
I think the difficult part is to find someone that will who is able to go through the daily grind of producing like a daily page, something like that. Finding someone to draw a pinup or a cover or whatever, that's easy. But finding
Yeah,
someone
but
who that's harder. That's really hard.
yeah, finding someone that's willing to take on the workload, that's matching what you're trying to do. That's just a good fit all around for what you've already established is very difficult. I got lucky.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Ibai, you said Iron Sights 2 has a little more humor in it, because Iron Sights strikes me as a book that if you're gonna put humor in it, it's sort of got to lean more into the dark comedy sort of lane. Like it's a little talking shit like what am I think? Stuff like Doctor Strangelove, or like where it's just a lot of gallows humor.
Yeah.
And shit like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking like I don't know. There's characters who remind me of Hudson in Aliens, stuff like that. The crazy blabbermouth Texan guy, stuff like that. And the subtitle of Ironsides 2 is Psychos, so I think it's fitting considering what I'm drawing.
So we are dealing with a lot. So we are dealing with a lot more black comedy in it, huh?
Yeah, and also it's of the genre of Anyone Can Die. That subgenre of movie that it kind of like Game of Thrones. Richard has gone full George R.R. Martin in this one. So yeah, it's like much. It's funnier in a sense because it surprises you in an almost funny way.
Oh, we put in an Anyone Can Die rule in the Mythoverse, didn't we, Matt?
Yep.
Only difference is we're not going to kill people off for the sake of shock value.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there a headshot count for issue 2 yet?
I'm definitely keeping one.
One?
No, I'm keeping a count, not that just one. I'm definitely counting, man.
I think what
I'm not gonna tell you guys the number.
It's like they're a counting gag.
If you give me the headshot number and the page number, I can give you the headshots per page.
I don't wanna spoil anything because I think the amount of blown head, that's one of our strong points. So people really want to know how many heads are you blowing off this time. Well, not canales. It's more like this time the mayor canales, mayornales. I like to call us mayornales.
Here's a good question. Mecha Studios asks, "What's the best way to study comedy and implement it into your writing?"
That's a very good question. I wouldn't know because everything I personally write seems to come off as comedic. I'm in no way I'm able to write something 100% serious. I think it's how I am.
So in other words, if you weren't making comic books, you'd be doing stand-up comedy then.
I think yes. I think that's accurate. I've been actually offered doing stand-up comedy before, but it's not my thing because I would probably end up spitting on my audience at some point. I don't want that.
So you'd be older Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I'm white.
He's kind of reminding me of an episode of Death Clock when the band tries to take on stand-up comedy. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yes, I remember that episode, and it's like they keep fucking it up, and then that one old crusty sailor guy, who, by the way, is voiced by James Hetfield.
Yeah.
He comes up and says,
I remember that one.
The key to comedy is hating yourself.
Well, at first it was hating the audience, and then the true key is hating yourself.
That's pretty funny.
Well, I think comedy is a sort of defense mechanism. So yeah, I think he's got a point.
The way I see it is like comedy is just. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. It's more like comedy is how you just sort of process shit that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You just look like it's shit you can't rationalize it away, so you just have to laugh it away.
I think that's kind of the Joker mindset, right? I mean, nothing makes sense, so I'm just gonna laugh.
Exactly.
That has so much to do with my work. It's sad.
Dealing with shit that doesn't make sense, Scott.
Well, just dealing with horrible stuff, so you kind of have to like reprocess it, so it's just not weighing on you all the time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, you work at the DA, so you work at the DA's office, so yeah, you've probably seen some really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy, Jeremy is in the chat. He says stand-up comedy is fun. I think Jeremy's done some stand-up.
He has. I've done it twice too.
Really?
There's a comedy club in Tacoma, which is called Tacoma Comedy Club. Big shock. They have open mic nights on like the last Wednesday of every month.
Wow. And you've done that a couple times?
Twice, yeah.
Wow. Dude, that's brave. I'm not good at public speaking, so I think that's awesome.
Do you want to know what the secret is, Michael? Hit the bar before you go on stage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dude, I realized when I was in New York this past vacation, hanging out with my local friends, I realized that when I got slightly drunk, not terribly drunk, I was a much better English speaker, and I was also much funnier. So you have a point there. I don't know why.
It's because alcohol lowers your inhibitions. Makes you less self-conscious.
Yeah, but it's also something. It's got also something to do with the fact that it kind of slows down your thought process. So, like your mouth is able to catch what your brain is thinking easier. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Kind of, I think.
That's what's been more like in my experience. Like I just get a little bit, like I start getting a little bit buzzed, and all of a sudden I'm less self-conscious about myself.
Yeah. But there's a fine line. That you have to walk there.
Well, you have to get shit-faced though. Then you're gonna run. Then you're gonna end up running through the streets naked.
Yikes! Or attacking a crowd, perhaps.
Yeah.
My line is if I can't lift my face from the pool of vomit below me, that's when you have to stop drinking.
Yeah. Mecha Studio says I like dark comedy. Some shows I watch, like Tales from the Dark Side, balance fairly well. It's hard to find it in modern shows.
Huh. Tales from the Dark Side. I'm not familiar with that one.
I saw the movie in VHS.
Yeah, I think that was more of an 80s thing, right?
Yep, it was an 80s movie.
Interesting. Okay.
Holy shit! It was made by George Romero.
Was it a zombie movie or no?
No,
it was like an anthology.
It was an anthology horror series, like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it was the one about the gargoyle, right? Wasn't there a gargoyle somewhere?
I don't know. It might be.
Let me look it up.
Oh, it was. Oh man, I'm looking up the Wikipedia page for this. Do you want to know what the origins to this was? It was initially going to be a creep show series.
Creep show?
You don't remember Creep Show, Michael?
Yeah, that's another horror anthology show.
It's a horror anthology. It's a horror anthology movie, and it's directed by George Romero. It's written by Stephen King, and it has special effects done by Tom Savini. It's like a horror fan's wet dream.
The first one had the cockroach story. I don't know if you guys remember it. It was one of the.
Stephen King has a bit part in the first one too, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, he plays a farmer in a kind of Color Out of Space remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. And then there's this short story about the guy who gets eaten alive by cockroaches that in everyone, at least in my generations, everyone's nightmares.
Sounds terrifying. I hate cockroaches.
No, it is.
I've heard some real life stories that are just like where people have found like like disabled or elderly people like living in horrible conditions, and like they would like lift their arms and there would be like cockroaches like living in their armpits.
Oh Christ!
How many of these people were hoarders?
Don't really know. Just stories from other people.
I heard of them getting into like Keurigs before, like a coffee maker.
They'll get into anything that has a food source that's not cleaned out regularly.
Also moisture too. They're attracted to moisture.
cockroaches are like fucking fleas. They're almost impossible. to
Let's stop talking about it. Let's move on. I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about them anymore. Go ahead.
So,
That's so
what-
creepy.
Michael, what's our
Okay,
what's
yeah,
our plan?
What's
our
the plan
game
for
plan
tomorrow?
for tomorrow?
You know, actually, now that
Yeah, that's a good
while we're
question.
still talking about like mixing comedy into your work, I mean, like, I mean, considering the sort of demographic that Changeling's going after, it sort of has to have like elements of humor in it by design. Like, I would definitely say it has more like I wouldn't say the humor's dark so much as the humor is it's a bit more lighthearted. It's like stuff you're gonna find in a lot of anime and manga.
Really?
That's the kind of humor I want to inject into it, and it's actually really good that Victor has good instincts for that. Like because like a lot of the humor in like anime and manga is done because like the thing with Japanese humor, it's based around primarily two things: puns, which only make sense in Japanese, and sex. Otherwise, although Japanese have their own brand of slapstick.
You forgot 3.
Yeah.
What's
Sex
the third
puns.
one? Sex puns.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
the ultimate trifecta.
you can't really. But yeah, the Japanese puns, they are not like I said, those do not. It's why a lot of Japanese comedies do not make it stateside, just because the humor is so Japanese and it only makes sense in Japanese. Like,
Well, there's a weird phenomenon by which I watch anime in both Spanish and English, and I realize that as you say, the puns don't really come through. But when they dubbed in Basque, Euskera, Maya native tongue, it actually kind of works. So for some reason, Basques have a similar sense of humor to Japanese. It's
you
weird.
you have a pun-based sense of humor.
Yes, I mean we can watch this. How's this show? Shin-chan. You guys know which
I know
which
what
show,
you're
right?
talking about. I know.
And the humor isn't really that funny in Spanish because I've watched both versions in Spanish and Basque. In Basque, it's freaking hilarious, and I don't know why. I mean, it's got something to do with the mindset or with the sound of the tongue. I don't know.
It's interesting about that show too because the just going based on what you said, like the English version, because the humor was so Japanese, they basically had to change every single joke to make it American.
That's what happens if anime comedies do make it stateside. They end up basically having to. I mean, they basically end up having to rewrite the lines to make sense in English, and the problem is the joke sort of gets lost in translation.
Yeah, and like Killer Bee from like the Naruto series must have been a nightmare.
Yeah, his Matt B, the publisher Matt, he watches the show in Japanese, and he always tells me like the Japanese version is actually really cool, but the English version is like really weird and doesn't sound right.
It's like one of those
because he's like he's a rapping character.
Yeah,
he's a rapping character, but like in the English version, it just sounds very bizarre. Doesn't sound like rap at all, even really.
Yeah, like I said, you're trying to keep like a flow, like a rap flow, but also trying to like convey what he's saying accurately. It's they did the best they could.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. Over translation.
Yeah, like the stuff that kind of does make it that kind of sort of doesn't get lost in translation is stuff like the sight gags and slapstick, just because that's stuff that's pretty universal.
Yeah,
I'm wondering that's why it takes them so long to do One Punch Man dubbed, which I still haven't been able to find, but people say it's out there.
It's coming on Toonami next month. They just announced One Punch Man Season 2 on Toonami next month, and Demon Slayer coming out next month on Toonami.
I love Demon Slayer. If you guys aren't watching that,
I heard you.
If you guys seriously are not watching that and you like anime, you need to get on that.
I want to watch Demon Slayer, but I have to watch it in a vacuum. I'm telling everyone listen to this. If you're gonna watch Demon Slayer, stay the fuck away from the fan base. They're insane.
That could be said. That could be said about a lot of things, I think.
Yeah. I usually just do things on my own, and if someone wants to talk about it, I'm cool. But like, I don't mix with the herd, so to speak.
That's funny, but yeah, no, that's I've heard that. Yeah, I have heard a lot of good things. It's like the hot new show this season, so I'll be excited to check out the dub when it comes on Toonami. That'll be cool.
Well, you
A lot
don't
of cool
have
stuff
to
coming
wait.
on.
It's on
I know,
Crunchyroll.
but I don't want to watch the sub. I want to watch the dub. That's why I
Yeah.
waited this whole time. I mean,
It
and
might
there's a lot of cool.
already.
There's
It
a
might
lot of
already
stuff.
be dubbed too. I'll
I
check
don't
for
think
you.
you could check, but I'm pretty sure they're premiering it on Toonami. But I could be wrong. It might be on Funimation already.
But yeah, I mean, like
but
that kind of that sort of style of humor, like mostly the stuff with like the sight gags and maybe a little bit of slapstick. You'll probably see that get into Changeling. Like there are the sight gags are easy just because a lot of them are done with expressions, and I mean anyone who's looked at Victor's art knows how good he is there.
no, that's a good point, and I think you guys already kind of do have a lot of that sense of humor in the manga in your guys' work. Like just seeing your page previews, it's a lot of them are pretty funny.
You also have the Chibi thing too, which is very comedy based.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
True.
that's Ella's work, which she's really good at that. She's like her stuff almost like she's done a couple fan comics for Attack on Titan. It looks just like the manga. Like you can't.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, I love those pieces. Those are so good. When I first saw that first Erwin one, I was blown away. I thought it was from the anime for a second. I was like, wait a second, wait, what? It's incredible. Yeah, I'm a huge Attack on Titan fan, so it was cool to see those.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, she can. I mean, can you see why we hired her to do the strip?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she definitely does a good job.
As
far as
I know, you're a little bit more. Your writing's a bit more serious than mine, but Mythics has got to have room for humor, right?
Oh, of course.
If you had to characterize it, how would you?
Probably it has more based on wit than anything else, but not so much of the kind of Hollywood wit writing that is prevalent in the MCU. More of if something seems ridiculous, then it's going to be played up for comedy in a subtle way.
So it's more like the characters pointing out how absurd something is.
Yep.
Or maybe like a comedic reaction to something that's kind of far fetched.
Yeah, or maybe taking a jab at a trope, such as, for example, the best example I can think of is from The Nice Guys, where you have Russell Crowe's character going off on a story about how a guy sees Nixon before he dies, and the end point is that he probably thinks that everyone sees Nixon before they die. And then Ryan Gosling's character just boils it down to, so what you're saying is there's two sides to every story. And Crowe just goes, yeah. And Gosling's response is basically, well, don't you think it would have been faster if you told me that first, in the first place? It was a jab at buddy cop movies where there's always this story that one character tells, usually a rough one with a tragic backstory, where it gets them a bond more together. Well, in the sense of this comedy film, it was played up for laughs.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I think Wrath is going to be a little bit similar to Matt's thing, especially the first issue. I don't think there's a whole lot of comedy in it. It's a little bit darker.
Yeah.
I was working on chapter 2. I think there's going to be a little bit more attempts at comedy, I guess you could call them, because that one's going to focus more on the relationship between Doug and Nicole. So you kind of see them, joking around and trying to put the whole thing together.
Yeah, how is preparation for your campaign going? You guys, I mean, you only 2 days till you launch, right?
Yeah, it's Monday.
Wow, that's amazing.
Just waiting on one last piece, and then I should be ready to go. My Indiegogo's pretty much ready to go, just missing that image. But yeah, I think we'll be ready to hit that launch button on Monday and make this thing happen.
Nice. And you and I are going to be talking on Monday evening at 7:30 Pacific time, PM. We're going to be talking about the kind of celebrating the launch and talking about the comic book with your concept artist.
Yep, G will be there, and I think a lot of the questions are going to be about how we got from where we were to where we are. There's been a lot of transition, a lot of change, and just overall, I think a lot of progress.
Yeah, nice, man. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about all that stuff. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we can go more into how difficult it is to replace an artist in your project too.
Yeah, seriously.
I will say my least favorite part is telling someone no. That's really difficult.
Oh, damn.
I get that, man.
Tell me about it. That's why I've been overworked for the past 18 months. I just can't say no to a project. I hate saying no to a project.
Michael, I know your stuff is also kind of leaned a little more towards the serious stuff, but there's got to be room for humor in it somewhere too.
Yeah, I think so. You gotta have at least a little bit of comedy to lighten the tension a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how to are, but Barrels looks like a book that at least lends itself to some black humor.
I would see that. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I feel like there's got to be at least a few funny parts in the first issue. Yeah, I think there's a few kind of definitely like even when there's really dark stuff in it, you can have moments of lightness and normalcy and humor and things, I think, to help balance it out.
Like, give your readers a break too.
Yeah, exactly. If it's just nonstop all the time, it can wear them out, or just throw them off. Like I think I think a big thing is a lot of people like to throw in, and I do too, because I love to throw in action right at the beginning. But if you don't necessarily set up your characters right, then people aren't going to be invested in the action or the characters and the outcome of what happens.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to characters. I mean, if you have characters that people can not really relate to, but find interesting and compelling, half of the work is done. The story can suck, but if people like the characters, they would at least. People love John Turturro from The Big Lebowski, and he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't even have plot, but people like him, and that's what they remember from the film. So that's half the battle.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah. And Brett, we were gonna Scott.
One of the things from like the 80s action films, you always had that little quip or quote that they throw in. Yeah, one-liners just to kind of break up the tension. That became pretty popular.
Until Batman and Robin killed it.
I don't know if it was Batman or Robin or it was the Marvel.
I would say Joss Whedon has done more to damage one-liners than Batman and Robin.
Yes. Now Joss Whedon has completely raped dialogue in the ass forever.
What do you mean?
Oh, come on! I mean, have you guys seen It Part 2?
No, not yet. No spoilers. I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil.
What does Joss Whedon have to do with it?
It's almost a Marvel movie.
Oh, you think it's like influenced by him?
Yeah, it's like a dark action movie, like dark fantasy action movie, more like Army of Darkness. And it's full of one-liners and of quippy dialogue, and it completely, for me at least, it completely destroyed the tension and the horror, because there wasn't a single monster that didn't perform something like athletic. If there was a monster somewhere, the monster had to crawl and do a somersault, and was, dude, this is like a Marvel movie. And people, they were making fun of the clown, like, oh, the fucking clown again! How there he goes again! Like, dude, this isn't scary. This is like Army of Darkness levels of scary,
Oh boy, that's not good. So the original is probably a lot better then.
Yeah, no, actually the 1990 movie scared me shitless when I was a kid, and to some degree still does, but because it has like this somber, like it's, I'm not gonna say realistic, but it doesn't try to scare you with jump scares. It tries to scare you. It tries to scare you with ideas. Like you get driven into the town with a cab, and the clown is there, like waving at you, just in the corner of the road. He already knows that you're there.
See, the thing is, no one's scared by that anymore because we already got that with Slender Man, and he's way scarier than that.
Yeah, but you also treated to a performance by Tim Curry.
True.
Tim Curry, is he the new guy or the original?
The original.
The original, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. I've heard a lot of good stuff about the original.
That guy can be creepy, like on the drop of a hat.
He's got two questions. Would you agree solid characterization is key to telling a good story? Also, what books on comic writing or writing in general do you recommend? For the first, I would say if you do not have good characters, then it doesn't matter how good your story is, because what's the point? Because you've, like, we absorb stories for the characters.
For books on writing comics, I'd have to say go for Nick McCarty's The Complete Guide on Comic Script Writing. Oh, give me a second now.
I would also say Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's making comics the Marvel way is a good resource.
Well, I have to say that Nick's is probably better because it's more of it doesn't have anything to do with the history of comics. It's more of it's more of a straightforward, this is what you need to do for a comic. How to set the script, and so on. Other than that, I'd say go on the internet, look for...
What's the name of that one, man? I'll post it in the link for everyone if you give me the title.
I would recommend a book by Denny O'Neil. I think it's called How to Write Comics the DC Way, and it's got a lot of really good advices on how to write, particularly superhero characters, not just characters overall, but in particular superhero characters. And it's got a really interesting chapter about how to write a flawed hero or an anti-hero, and just know where the line is before you write it as a villain and it becomes an unrelatable asshole, which is I think a pretty general problem now.
And who wrote that one, Canals?
Yeah, Dennis O'Neil.
Daniel O'Neil, you said?
Dennis O'Neil.
By the way, I double checked it, and I got the name wrong. I got one of the names wrong. First off, it's called How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It is by Stan Lee, but instead of Jack Kirby, the other one is John Buscema.
All right, put the link to my suggestion in the private chat. But
so here's Canals' DC Comics guide writing.
It's actually really interesting with Dennis O'Neil is that it's not very well known that he's done some contributions to the Transformers franchise. The most important one is naming Optimus Prime.
I think he was the guy charged with writing like the bios and the quirks and the abilities of every Transformer in the back of the packaging, right?
He was working on the comics line, I believe.
So I linked something in the chat too. It's an online guide that just has specific articles that kind of help you focus on.
Where are you guys linking these things? I don't see anything.
In the chat.
Private chat.
What's a private chat?
Look at the bottom of your StreamYard screen. There's a chat.
Right.
Don't ask me. I'm just a big gray block.
Huh. I don't have a private chat. Why don't I get to have a private chat?
Hold on. Are you looking? Are you looking at the YouTube screen or are you looking at the StreamYard screen?
The StreamYard, yeah.
There should be like a chat.
Oh, I see it now. Hey, look at that. Huh. That is interesting. Hey. Matt said I'm not cool enough to be in the chat, the private chat.
Well, apparently you are because you finally found it.
Wow.
So anyway, I linked a website that has, they're kind of focused discussions on different aspects of comic creating. So there's
nice.
how to create ideas, how to write scripts, how to, it breaks it down into just smaller chunks.
And that's called makingcomics.com, is that right?
Correct.
I'll put that one up there as well. Makingcomics.com. So it's a nice a resource that people can use.
Yep. It even I've used it to look up like the top 10 mistakes of lettering. It's just a very good collection of guides on making the comic process.
Nice, man. That's cool. Yeah, these are all really valuable resources, I think, so people can check these out. I have one that I always like to plug as well, by the crusty old curmudgeon Alan Moore himself, which is writing for comics. He has an essay he did, and it's published by Avatar, and it's I think it's a good read. It's less less on actual, like, it's more about just thinking about writing comics. So it's just a good piece to kind of think about and kind of grow your thought process on the actual process of writing comics, as opposed to like hands-on stuff.
Was that the one where he said, "I'm not going to teach you to write like Alan Moore because we don't need anyone else to write like Alan Moore"?
Exactly, that's right.
He's got a point. I mean, I'm bored of seeing people trying to become the next Alan Moore. I'm going to deal with the superhero, dude. Just tell me a good story, okay?
Exactly, and that's part of what he tries to tell in that, not to try and replicate any one process necessarily.
I learned that
it's a good read.
I've learned that the more you say "don't be like me," people are gonna want to be like you.
Unfortunately,
I had that problem with my teachers in art school. That I have a problem with authority. So the more they told me not to do something, the more I do it. So yeah, if Alan Moore told me not to be like him, I would probably grow a beard instantly.
And then he'll probably just go ahead and say that you practice black magic in a magical war with Grant Morrison.
Yeah, I would throw him a spell. I would learn how to do magic, and I would put a curse on him.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty accurate.
I was just thinking that I should dare people. I dare you to be like me, so that I can watch you and figure out what the hell I'm doing.
It's an interesting way to do it.
I would tell them, if you want to become the next Canales, you have to kill the current Canales.
You have to stab him with a silver blade into the heart. That's the only way to get rid of him.
It's not metaphorical, it's literal.
Now, Mecha Studios has a recommendation of their own. Mecha Studios says, not necessarily comic writing, but check out Will Eisner's graphic storytelling as a premiere to visual storytelling.
Yeah, Eisner definitely was a pioneer of sequential storytelling. So yeah, I would totally recommend studying him.
I mean, it's like if you're if you're gonna be a painter, I mean, like you should study guys like Da Vinci and all the other Renaissance guys. So if you're gonna make comics, you should study guys like Will Eisner.
Smart. It's just because you're writing comics, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try and get influence and inspiration from as many sources as possible from any angle. It all helps.
I agree.
Well, it's not just that; it's just like he did so much to push the medium forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got an award named after him. That says how much he contributed to it.
True. Yeah, you don't usually get an award named after you unless you do some pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, like the Darwin Awards.
I'm gonna say that awards seem to be very, they'll accept anyone these days.
I'm not saying the Eisner Awards mean anything these days. I'm just saying that the fact that Will Eisner had it named after him says how much he contributed to it.
Oh yeah, I know.
True.
I think it's going to be even easier for certain people to get in the future than anything else because of the whole outrage culture.
Dun dun dun.
We finally touched an interesting subject.
Oh man, now we have another Wikid creator with us. Looks like Wes is joining us now. Welcome,
Hey,
Wes, to the studios.
Hey,
Yeah, a brand new format compared to our old setup on YouTube's.
Yeah, well, we're still on YouTube. We're still there, but it's instead of going through Hangouts now, we're going through StreamYard.
Yeah,
I'm
a little bit different.
Yeah. I'm slightly pissed that everyone has an avatar except me. I'm just a big gray block. I wanna fix it.
Well, what happened there? I've never seen that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just signed into the StreamYard thing, and I'm gray.
I think that's what happens when you say, tell them to turn on the video and you don't have a camera.
Okay.
Webcam.
Okay, if I suddenly disappear, don't hold it against me. I'm gonna stop my cam. See what happens.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
There we go.
Much better.
I'm a white circle now. Okay,
Yay!
you guys carry on. You guys carry on. I'm gonna try and
Yep.
fix it.
You can go to your settings, I think. At the bottom of the screen, maybe.
I think I got it. I think I got it.
You think you got it? Okay. Good luck. It's good, sir.
Many.
So how's it going, Wes?
Oh, it's been going great. I mean, my real life is finally stabilized. We're going back to normal. So and some I think you guys know this from our private conversations, but Charger has an update for the unwashed masses. We actually recently hired a brand new artist who will be actually doing the trading cards for the original campaign. She also has, might be doing some of the future covers for future issues, past issue 1.
Oh, cool.
And, her name is Alex Bayless, and she actually has a history in here in Canadian animation. She's actually one of the artists for Corner Gas Animated. She's part of the animation team for that.
Whoa. Nice, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys watch Canadian television, but Corner Gas was a popular comedy show in back like the mid 2000s, and then of course, like a lot of TV shows, they went animated. Like other shows include like Trailer Park Boys, they went animated, and a lot of other spin-off. Like basically, they figure, well, animation is cheaper. No, I think animation is more expensive, but the actors can keep doing their thing without having to worry about all the live action shenanigans that come with it.
True. Yeah, people underestimate how much animation costs, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, but for that, they could do a lot of stuff in animation that they just flatly couldn't do in live action. That's why I think they went over there. That's why I think they started doing it, because they didn't have to worry about getting old. They could just sit in a studio and do their voice over and over again.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. There are a lot of benefits to that.
Yeah, but she has a history of that. We met through my friends actually at Sci-Fi Candy over at Fan Expo. Sci-Fi Candy are a custom swimsuit and lingerie making company, and they also do men's lingerie. And they actually designed the first piece of Charger merchandise ever. They designed a bathing suit for it.
How about a Speedo?
Man. No, it's not a Speedo. It's not. No.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Although, we're in talks as well to actually produce some Charger wardrobe stuff as well, some promotional stuff for future issues as well. So
very nice, man.
A lot of Canadian local brand stuff would actually make sense considering I am Canadian and the Charger is set in Canada.
True. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Now, I see we have a new image here for you, Canales. Are you holding a Gatling gun?
I'm actually holding 2, but I couldn't make them fit in the picture, so
I'm holding 2. That's
what you're supposed to answer. That's what you're supposed to answer if someone asks you if you're holding a Gatling gun. No, I'm actually holding 2.
Totally rational.
All right.
Second Amendment, bitches.
You don't have amendments in Spain. What are you talking about?
We don't have any amendment. Oh,
Oh, don't let Beto O'Rourke see that. He'll try to take your guns.
Too late. I don't have any.
Wink.
I have to hunt my food with rocks and sticks.
Oh,
Well,
so
as
sad.
Snidely Whiplash pointed out, that's not fair. They've got rocks. Oh, we've got our machine guns.
Oh man, but that's a nice picture, man. I like that. That's a good
Thank you,
style.
thank
It's yeah. Well, yeah, that's awesome, Wes. I'm glad to hear things are going well. How's progress going on Charger coming along?
Well, Troy contacted me earlier this week. He said he was he's cooking things. He should be wrapping up. He's got we had 18 pages. We have 12 pages left to go. He said he's cooking it up. He should be done within the next week or so, hopefully. Don't quote me on that though, because he said that last week, to be fair to him. But I'm giving him, like, honestly, because he's had apparently a very hectic 80 hour 60 plus hour friggin' work week in his full-time job, just trying to make ends meet. Plus, of course, he has one pool and all the other stuff. So apparently he's been a busy man.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But I'm glad to hear it should be coming out pretty soon. I know people are looking forward to finally getting to read it.
Well, I know it's behind schedule, but we will. The first thing that will come out is a digital release, which mercifully is a lot easier because digital. As we promised, digital is in black and white. So once the main art announcement comes out, you won't have to wait terribly long for the digital release for all the backers.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So while the coloring's going on, the digital will be out there in the wild.
Yeah, pretty much.
I nearly forgot this. Matt, what's the progress on for Mythics?
We should be done before 21st. If not, I'll eat my hat.
Make
You eat that hat.
Make a live stream while you're at it.
Yeah, please. We want to see that.
You should maybe deep fry it. Get a deep fry. Put some batter on it.
Why are you
gallon hat.
Why are you guys trying to tax me?
That does work at a place where you could do that.
What's that?
That does work at a place where you could do that.
Oh yeah. No, now they're really trying to dox you, Matt.
I won't say where. I won't say where. I'll just say his job has access to a deep fryer.
Dude, now I have a craving for a Five Guys burger.
Whose job doesn't have access to a deep fryer these days, though? I mean, come on.
Mine doesn't.
Really? I found a deep fryer when I was at your office. I thought
I work
at
a logistics company, but my entire company, my day job literally has me shipping and receiving bras and panties all day. So
I work at the gym.
Deep frying those.
That's pretty awesome.
Huh?
I work at the gym. I never looked, so I couldn't say.
But so you couldn't say though.
Yeah, there's possibly a deep fryer somewhere.
Exactly. I call it Schrodinger's deep fryer. Until you open the box, you don't know.
Americans, you Americans and your deep fryers.
I don't know. If you want to see people who deep fry fucking everything, look at the Scottish.
True.
That's true.
That is
I can't
true.
argue that. I can't argue that.
I was just at the Scottish Games about a week or two ago in Alamoin County, and I can confirm that everything was fried. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I think now's a good time for me to buy out. Got a lot.
All right.
to do.
No worries. Well, thanks for joining us, Scott. Where can people follow you online since you're heading out?
You can follow my Twitter. It's at Kishkuman.
And what do you have going on Monday? I can't remember. What was it again?
And the Wrath Chapter 1 Indiegogo launches on Monday the 16th. We will have a launch stream, 7:30, with Michael, myself, and concept cover artist Druzel. And we're going to come through and we're just going to crush this and get our book out to all our fantastic backers.
Heck yeah, man. I'm so excited for that. In fact, we have the link up ready to go for the video, so I'm going to post that as well. Get ready for the campaign countdown. And I'm really excited to talk to you about the book and some of the changes that have come recently. And I know you guys are really excited to get back to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I didn't want to take up too much time because we got to save some stuff to talk about Monday. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to be really diving into it on Monday. So here's the link for the chat. We're going to be starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're
And
able to, please join us.
And we are going to be at a small Comic-Con tomorrow as well.
That's right. Yeah, me and Scott are heading over to I can't remember. I think it's the Fairfield Anime Toy Comic-Con.
Yeah, that sounds
presented by
about
OhanaCon. So yeah, that'll be exciting. We're gonna be selling a lot of the Wikid books and getting the word out on some of these projects.
I might pick up some I don't have already myself.
Nice, man. In fact, we might even talk, Scott, about printing out some promotional material for Wrath so that we can promote it at the show. So
that'd be
we'll
cool.
talk about that later. Yeah.
All right,
man. We'll have a good one. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Take care, man.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye. So yeah, a lot of good progress being made on these Wikid books. It sounds like.
Yep, we're all making our headway little by little.
Seriously.
I think I did announce though. I think I did announce to you guys that Troy has agreed to stay on for issue 2, so of Charger. So the team will be, the band will be on for at least one more issue.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, that's good to hear. I just love his the way he draws that comic. It's
the art
so cool.
Yeah, he was able to bring to life pretty much what had been cooking up in my brain for the last 15 years. Yeah,
which is no easy feat.
No, absolutely not. We were talking about that on the promotional art. It's like, last night when we saw the new that Wicked staff artist what he posted for a Charger, and he looks great. It's just like I was like, the chest emblem's gonna drive me nuts.
Is it slightly off then?
It's not even slightly. It's way off. It's like,
it's artist interpretation, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like, it's like the rest of the costume looks great, but it's like that's all great. But for branding reasons, it's like taking Superman's S shield. And how remember in the early days when Superman's S shield was being drawn, how they never could drew it the same way twice?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in the Golden Age, it was like this weird looking police badge with just a regular S on it. The next issue was like a triangle with like an S somehow woven into it, and then it was like 30 or more incarnations of the same thing. And then finally they settled on the classic Superman shield that we know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like they couldn't settle on what his S shield looked like, and it's like, this is what it reminds me of, and it's like, no, this is what it looks like, guys. But every time they draw it, it always looks slightly different. Even Troy, when he's drawn it a couple of times, like, Troy, you've drawn this before, you know what it looks like. And it's like, but but of course now he can draw it, and he knows exactly what it looks like. So but it's just like, it was pretty funny that there's definitely a sense of continuity, considering Chargers is very much an electric Superman, and go figure, his people draw his draws lightning bolts just like Superman back in the day. It's like, oh, for Christ's sake.
The parallels there are pretty good.
That made me laugh. Like, I was like, oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Canals, as an artist, have you ever had that run into that problem, like where you keep making the same error or something like that?
Well, I learned to go through my own pages every morning before I begin drawing a new one.
Really?
Because I used to get carried away by my emotions, and sometimes I would draw the same character with different guns in like, he was supposed to only have one gun, and the gun would change from one panel to another, stuff like that. And I could never decide how the gun looked like. So I just forced myself to go through the old art, and yeah, this is how it's supposed to look. Stick to it. Focus, Canales.
What was that last part?
Focus. I told myself to focus.
Oh, focus. I
Yeah,
thought you said it fucked with Canales.
No, fuck us. Fuck us, Canales. I didn't say that. Even though I could understand what you were thinking.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. Yeah.
I had to resist an Austin Powers joke right there. Is she dead feared? It's like, oh, his dad or his father. Yes, I have a objection. Is she dead feared?
I gotta say, American chicks dig my accent, so that's all I'm saying.
American chicks dig accents. It's just it's known.
It's true. Except the Canadian accent. No one likes the Canadian accent, especially
really?
if I amped up the Canadian accent, you guys would start laughing. So
I wonder if it's because it's too close to home. Like it's just right
No.
over the border, you know.
Oh no! You talk like this. It's a little more straightforward there, eh? This is very over the top. Go out to the boonies. You go out right down to Nova Scotia. This is exactly what they all sound like.
Oh my God, you sound like the guy on this show Preacher. I don't know if you ever seen that. You sound like
the Irish guy.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
kinda like that guy.
okay. Like if you watch, if any of you seen Strange Brew, it's like a Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters. He would look like there are moments where it's like, you stupid Canuck. It's like, you know, where it's like, oh, he goes, oh, I got this from my cousin in Nova Scotia. It's like, oh, fuck. Like, Rick, you're doing this on purpose at this point. It's like, and it's like he like, you know, Bob and Doug McKenzie. It's like, you know, he literally just, they ham it up to the point. It's like, you know, the Canadians do have an accent, but no one likes it. It's like, dude, stop. And when you go up, like example, heck, even in Ontario, it's like you go out to like, you know, you go any further north, it's like, and the more north you get, the more friggin' it's like, the more it comes out, and you're like, oh God.
You know, now that I think about
You
it,
realize
Matt,
that you realize you live in Toronto. It's like, because Toronto is easily the most Americanized city in the country. So it's like, you know, we all kind of sound like Americans for the most part, but then you start going away from Toronto and you're like, oh God.
Well, to
No,
be fair,
Quebec is hilarious. I have a friend in Quebec, and she sometimes he invites me over, and I met her friends, her parents once, and it was amazing. It was like every Canadian cliche out there. That was like,
But Quebec, it's funny because that's actually hilarious considering Quebecers don't want anything to do with Canada. They're a bunch of separatists, yeah.
yeah, no. I can totally relate to that. They're like Basques in Canada. I can totally relate to that.
I'll say this thing about Quebecois. Okay, anyone know Stephanie? She goes by Psychology Nerd on Twitter and YouTube.
Yes,
Sure.
yes. She's another Canadian friend of mine.
Now you notice how she's able to how she speaks English with no problem. That is not most Quebecois. They hate speaking English with a passion.
No, they don't like speaking. Actually, it's true because the reason she does that is because if you're west of Montreal, Montreal is a hybrid city, so they will speak English and French. But the second you go east of Montreal, everyone's like they will. If you speak English, God help you.
Yeah. Stephanie is like she's the exception. Like she's the Quebecois that actually makes an effort to speak English.
Yep. But it's like, you know, like I said, because there are a lot of pockets in Quebec that are west of Montreal because they're closer to Ottawa at that point. It's like they will speak perfect English and they won't even hesitate. Even in Montreal, you can speak English and it's fine and no one gives a crap. It's literally once you start getting east of Montreal, they look at you like, dude, what are you doing? You know?
They look at you like they look at you and they'll just say fuck off.
No, they look at you. It's like, look at you, you stupid English speaking bastard. Go back to Toronto.
Yeah.
So this is the most Canadian conversation I've ever heard.
Canadian or Minnesotan?
I'm not sure anymore.
Oh my God, Matt! You remember when we have Blossom on the stream?
Yep.
Blossom is Canadian. I can't, and she doesn't have a very strong accent.
Really?
Well, where's Blossom from?
She's all I know is she's alluded to the East Coast. That's all.
So she's probably she's referred to the East Coast. Well, that could mean anything considering technically Toronto is East Coast in and of itself because we're actually we're not that far from New York, contrary to what people might think. It's like about a 6-hour drive to New York, and that's obviously the East Coast. And the thing is, like East Coast, straight up East Coast would be like Nova Scotians, and they have a more Canadian accent. And then there's Newfies.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she doesn't. Dogs? I can definitely say she does not sound like a Newfie or like she's from Nova Scotia.
Yeah, Nova Scotians, they have a Canadian accent, but if you live out in Halifax, like they will talk like, you know, more Americanized. But if you're Newfie, oh boy, it's not. To paraphrase, to actually to do a Newfie accent, I can't even do a Newfie accent. But to paraphrase, has anyone ever seen the movie Snatch?
I would say my best. I know what you're talking about. My best friend, she lives up in Campbell. She lives up in Campbell River. It's like off the coast of Vancouver.
That's the West Coast. That's left coast.
Yeah, but what she told me is that Newfies, they sound like a weird hybrid of Irish and Canadian.
They do. It's not exactly Canadian. It's not exactly Irish. It's just Newfie.
Yeah, it's just like It's kind of like how I would say it's kind of like being Boston Irish. It's this weird.
Yeah, in a weird way, it's kind of like Boston Irish. It's called the New England accent.
Well, it's just no. There's like a dozen different accents in New England.
Oh God,
Boston's one of them. Boston, you got Boston, you got Rhode Island, you got Jersey, you got
Jersey. Oh God,
you got Jersey, you got Brooklyn. Long Islanders are fucking weird to talk to, from what I've heard.
Long Island.
Yeah, you would.
Well, it's funny. My friends it's funny because my friends I have a lot of Jewish friends, rich Jewish friends no less, and it's funny because they describe the Brooklyn accent as it's a kind of a combination of Jersey and Jewish. Because when you hear them talk, they start talking Jewish, they start you can almost hear a New York accent coming out of them.
Do people in California have an accent?
How long have you lived in California, dude?
My whole life.
There's like the South Beach accent, like the fucking surfer accent.
Then there's the Valley Girl.
See, I live in the Bay Area, so maybe that's why I don't live in Southern California. I live in Northern California, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but in SoCal, there are definitely SoCal accents.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I thought that Dave Chappelle was doing like a Californian accent when he played the white junkie creeping into his kitchen. Like the man.
Yeah, that's one. But actually, okay. I do know one perfect example of a female Southern Californian accent. Has everyone seen the original Power Rangers, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Kimberly.
I saw it in Spanish.
Kimberly, Amy Jo Johnson. She actually lives out here in Toronto now, but Amy Jo Johnson has a stereotypical Southern California Valley Girl accent. Oh God. It's you guys, what the hell? What is going on here? It's like that preppy accent that actually comes from Southern California.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
What does Detroit sound like?
I wouldn't know. I don't usually
Motor
go.
City, actually, I know. I've been to the Motor City. They don't really have much of an accent. It's pretty much Americanized.
Well, it is American, so
I can definitely say UP has their own way of talking. Upers are weird.
And what about the Hoosiers?
Well, they are closer to Canada,
If you come up to Canada, you Hoosiers. Actually, it's funny because Detroit is on the border. Detroit is a border city. It's a border city, quite literally. You cross the bridge, you're in Canada. And the opposite side of the border is Windsor. Now, in 2015, I was flying through California, but I had to make a stopover through Windsor. And you get to Windsor, you go to Detroit, you get to the Detroit airport. I'm coming back from my trip, and we get on the bridge. I get on the shuttle, we get on the bridge between Canada and the US. And I swear to you, I was like, I go over, I'm looking behind me, and it's downtown Detroit, so it's the steel glass and plates and all that. So it looks like a modern city, but obviously once you get past the downtown veneer, it literally looks like Superman and Doomsday had a fight. Because the place is run down and destroyed. I kid you not. But
why do you think they have it as Gotham in Batman v Superman?
Exactly. But it's like, but I was driving, and I would turn around, I look at all the steel and glass. It looks all manicured. And then I look over in Windsor, and it's like the buildings that face Windsor are run down. They look like they're 50, 60 years old. But here's the rub. I swear to you, when you look over at the steel and glass, it looks like someone took a chroma filter and ripped all the color out of Detroit and put it in the rundown buildings of Windsor. It looks like Windsor was full of life and full of color, even if all the buildings were kind of run down. But Detroit, steel and glass, gray. And it was like, what the fuck? And this is in real life. I was like, what the hell?
Well, I'm strangely glad that real life has become like RoboCop.
That was weird.
Real life's becoming more like RoboCop every day.
I think it would have something to do with the architecture. I mean, like you've been down to Madrid a couple times, right, buddy?
No, only at Disney World, Epcot Center. Okay, never mind. You go ahead.
You've been to Madrid many a times, right? Right, eBay?
Well, not many of them, but many times.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've been like 3-4 times before.
Yeah, like they got buildings that are like hundreds of years old, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing because we live in a country that was built during the Dark Ages. So I myself live in a town. Have you guys played Assassin's Creed Part 2? The one
Yeah.
that it goes down in Italy. You know, when they go to this town, I think it's called like San Gimignano or something like that, and it's like a small town with two massive medieval towers, and it's like half medieval, half industrial. That's how things look around my area.
Hmm. Really?
Yeah, it's like one of those small steel mill towns in the U.S., but built atop one of these really old cobalt medieval towns in Europe.
How that's really interesting. It's a kind of a mixture of the new with the old.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cyberpunk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's just well, and they preserved like a lot of those old buildings, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have a right next to my house. There's a church that's like 500 years old.
Wow. Yeah, it's
Like-
amazing. It's just the incredible span of history that your country has.
Yeah, too bad we rarely remember it. Exactly.
Oh, you forget there was a time back when Spain was the big dog in Europe.
Dude, we were the empire in which the sun never set. That's how we were called back in the day.
Wow.
I mean, do you
That's
want to
how
know?
big we were.
If you want to know
Yeah,
how
that's
big they were,
wild.
there was there was this one I forget. There was this one Muslim I forget what he was. I forget what he was. He was like a king or something. Suleiman the Magnificent. There was this one guy. There was this one prince from Spain that he hated with a passion. He always referred to him in his writings as that Spanish prince. I think it was what, Charles II?
I don't know, probably because we and the Arabs never really got along. But you know, they invaded us, then we invaded back. It was pretty nasty back then.
Yeah.
I think he was in Assassin's Creed.
I think it was Prince
Probably.
Charles
Probably.
II.
Well, we've had like a lot of Prince Charles, so I couldn't say.
No, that's interesting though. Yeah. Huh. Little history lesson there.
Oh wait, the guy I'm thinking of, he was the last Habsburg ruler of the Spanish Empire. So that might be a different guy.
Let me think, because I think no, right now we have a Bourbon, we have a French guy in the throne. So yeah,
A
that must have
Bourbon.
been like in yeah, no, that's where the word Bourbon comes from the, well, we call them Borbones in Spanish, but yeah, it's the same word actually.
Well,
Really?
Yep.
here's
That's awesome, man.
Charles II, even though he was Spanish, she was also Austrian.
Yeah, it was back in the day in Europe. That was the kind of thing that we would do. You know, we would marry people. You know, to like link two countries together, like to sign like a peace treaty, something like that.
Yep.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys are. Yes, sorry. Go ahead.
Michael,
Mm-hmm.
Wes got disconnected, so could you bring him back in?
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yikes.
That happens.
You're fine.
I mean, I was gonna be like going in like 10 minutes, but I was like, I just randomly disconnected. It's like, what the hell?
Oops.
I thought you were just being quiet.
Been there.
No.
Wes
No.
quiet.
Yeah, it's like West quiet. What is this sorcery?
I thought it was a little unusual. Yeah.
He doesn't shut up. It's like, does he ever shut up?
Michael, did Michael,
what?
did you mute Wes?
Yeah,
No,
I kicked him out. Yeah, I got rid of him. It was all by design. You caught me at my red hand.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
But oh shoot. What were we just talking about?
Oh, I looked it up. It was Charles V.
Charles V did what?
He was Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor from 1519.
Oh, that reminded me. That's what I was gonna say. Is if you guys want a historical anime, I just started watching Vinland Saga, which is on Amazon right now.
I've been meaning to get to that.
It's good.
If you love the Vikings, you'll probably love this.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's really good. It's a really good thing, and it's done by Wit Studio, who does the Attack on Titan anime.
I think that's fuck. I think it's the same studio that did the Ghost in the Shell anime. What was it? Shit. It's not. It's escaping me.
Let's see.
I'm looking it up right now.
Is it Studio Peria? Oh,
Production IG does Attack on Titan.
They are the producers, aren't they?
Okay, I'm looking up Vinland Saga right now.
I think Wit Studio is the animation studio, and then Production IG is like the production company behind it.
So it's the only studio listed as Wit Studio.
That's the one. Wit Studio is
it's a subsidiary of Production IG. Production IG is a subsidiary of IG Port, so they're under the IG banner, I guess.
I see. Okay, well that makes sense. So yeah.
So I think well, we got any? Is that everything? Every topic we've covered, or are we missing a few things?
I don't
know. We could talk. Let's see. We've covered Marvel. We haven't talked Star Wars yet.
Yes, let us talk about how Star Wars is going to hell.
Okay, have we covered DC's next epic failure coming up from Bendis?
What's that?
Does it have to do with Zoe Quinn?
Does everyone remember T-shirt Superman from a few years ago?
T-shirt Superman.
Yeah, Grant Morrison.
The story
right?
that was there was Jen Luen Yang, the guy who it was just when they killed off the new 52 Superman and replaced him with the pre-52 Superman.
Okay.
Does everyone remember that? It was what led right into DC Rebirth?
Kind of.
That was around the time I quit mainstream comics.
So well that you guys fucking forgot about it. Well, anyways, a few years ago, just before DC Rebirth, in fact, it's the reason DC Rebirth happened in the first place, is that they decided to have Superman, Lois Lane out Superman's secret identity and then make him lose 90% of his powers, and so he started wearing a T-shirt and became some kind of social justice activist.
Oh God!
This run was so bad and so terrible that they had to bring back the pre-New 52 Superman to replace him as the main Superman, creating DC Rebirth. Like, this is only a few years ago, and the fact that most people have forgotten about it is testament to how bad this story was. Well, Bendis is gonna do it. Do it again. Bendis is outing Superman's secret identity again.
Like,
the body's barely whole in comic book standards, and you're gonna do it again.
Does it really matter at this point? I think it's kind of. I don't think it's a secret that Bendis is washed up.
Be that as it may, it's like editorial has to think about this and go, wait a minute, didn't we already do this a couple of years ago and it failed so hard then that we had to redo Rebirth?
I think we can all agree that editors don't do shit anymore in comics nowadays.
Our editors do.
Fair enough.
At least in mainstream comics, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean mainstream comics. You know, being an editor, mainstream comics editor has become a joke.
I mean, I don't know and I actually posed this to Weaponized Nerd Rage after there was announcements of Zoe Quinn doing what was it?
Zoe Quinn doing the Donna Troy spinoff for Batman Superman.
Yeah, so something that kind of occurred to me was that is it possible that the editorial and management isn't even looking at her social media? And if
probably.
So that got me thinking. If they're not even looking at her social media, have they been looking at anybody else's? Because that actually goes a long way to explain why we've had comic pros practically get away with murder on Twitter.
If they did. Well, the only times I think they do is whenever they have remember Butthole Gate. That's why that guy finally got they literally bombarded the DC live stream with Butthole Gate.
Butthole Gate. What?
Yeah, they finally got rid of Robbie Rodriguez, but it took them how long until they did? It's probably because they got bombarded with Butthole Gate to the point where they actually had to ban the live chat on the live stream. So they're probably looking at this going, "Why is everyone saying Butthole Gate? We don't understand."
I was gonna say I never thought I'd hear those words put together.
There we go. My point is proven. They're not looking. They're not checking. They aren't monitoring the social media.
Yeah, you notice how the only times they've gotten rid of people, Eric Esquivel or fucking, or Robbie Rodriguez with Butthole Gate, the only times they got rid of them is after people made a sufficient nuclear stink in their other media that they finally figured it out. Like example, it was a Me Too moment for fucking Esquivel. It was it was a butthole gate for Rodriguez.
Yeah, but that just makes sense. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the people in charge, they are not social media savvy.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, but even at the same time, it's like Dan DiDio. You know, this is his creation because he did it the first. It's like, Dan, the body's barely cold in comic book standards. Like, it's only been 4 years, and the story was sucked so hard the first time. You want Bendis to do it again? What? So are you doing this just so you can have your big Spider-Man Civil War moment, and then you have to one more day it and thus undo the marriage again, and then piss off fans again? Did you guys not realize that Rage is not selling comic books anymore? You got it. Like, it's not. Point blank.
I would say Weaponizer Rage is definitely selling comic books.
Yeah, but his personal
The thing
rage
is, that's the thing is, W&R, he's found a way to weaponize that rage. It's that weaponized rage,
and there's a
man.
major difference. And there's a major difference. There's also a major difference.
Oh yeah.
There's also a major difference between being the criticism. Like, there's a huge difference between being angry and criticizing things. That's what's selling his books, and actually in creative books doing something in the book that's going to piss off your readers.
That was the joke, Wes. You said Rage isn't selling comic books, and you had a guy named Rage whose name literally is Rage. He is selling books. There's the joke.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, no.
Okay.
But no, I get where you're coming from. You know, I get that.
Doesn't
how dense these motherfuckers have
any less valid though.
Yeah, right.
It's like, did they not realize this is what tanked their company the first time and caused them to do DC Rebirth in the first place? Because as Jeff Johns has pointed out actually recently in Doomsday Clock, he finally put dragged DC over the coals in a meta way. Like, that's why he calls it the metaverse. In universe, he finally explains why DC reboots every single freaking time. It's because Superman's sales are tanking. So whenever they tank Superman's
I thought Batman was the seller for DC, not Superman.
No, he is. But the reason, I knew this as far back as 2011 with my comics course in college, because one of my professors was Francis Manipal. I kid you not. This is an actual thing.
Huh.
He was one of the speakers, and I actually got to see issues of the Flash, New 52 Flash, before they were even out.
Nice.
So, but the thing is, I looked at this and it was like, okay. He told me point blank, he says, you got to think about why DC does what they do. They do this because what is going on with Superman in that moment? They only reboot. And why do you think Batman gets to retain his continuity pretty much after every reboot, regardless of what goes on? Who gets changed the most at every time a reboot happens? Superman. Who gets changed the most of every character?
You would think Superman would be the one guy they leave alone. Like, everyone seems to have this idea of what this agreed upon idea of what Superman is, and yet they're the guy they toy with the most.
Oh, if we're talking just Warrior.
Relatable. Actually, I love Doomsday Clock taking editors to task. Jeff Johns basically made Dr. Manhattan the stand-in for most DC editors, specifically Dan DiDio.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever read. When you actually read it with the meta context, you're like, oh god, this is so true. Basically, they made the New 52 because they didn't think that Superman was relatable. They wanted to make him an angst-driven nihilist kind of thing who is so detached from humanity. And I found this one more relatable. It's like, oh, he's unrelatable. Oh, he's OP. Oh, he's this. And they always change Superman because of X, Y, and Z, because they don't know how to. Even though they have a firmly established, concept of what Superman is, they don't like it very much. They say, oh, it's hard to write. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And basically, they always come up with excuses to not write Superman as he's meant to be. And so that's why they constantly reboot him. And when they reboot him, the entire universe gets rebooted. The only one who largely walks away unscathed is Batman, because everyone likes to write Batman, and they always write him in the same consistent manner for the most part.
Mostly.
I didn't say it always, but I did say for the most part. But who gets changed the most out of every route? Superman. So it's like, guys, and that's like, you failed so hard with T-shirt Superman. You failed so hard. You revealed his identity to the world. Dumb mistake. You basically, you took away all his powers, like 90% of his powers. Dumb mistake. You took away his costume. Dumb mistake. You made him a social justice activist to the fullest extent. Mega dumb mistake. You failed so hard that you had to bring back the pre-New 52 Superman and make him the main Superman. And then lo and behold, sales return. Superman becomes one of the top sellers at DC once again for a couple of years with Jurgens on Action Comics and Tomasi on Superman, Son of Superman. You do Rebirth, you do Reborn to integrate him into the new era, and you do all this stuff. Lo and fucking behold, Superman sells again. And then all of a sudden, Bendis takes over and sales tank once again because he changes everything that people liked about Superman. And now you're doing the thing that fucking made you fail Superman in the New 52.
I gotta give Brian Edward Hill some credit for this because I think I remember someone asking him on Twitter if he would ever write Superman. And he said, I don't think my style suits him, but I like the character, but I don't think I'm suited to him. And that's like a running theme in Brian Edward Hill's work is seeing people confront their demons, and that is not Superman.
I mean, Superman has them, but he's the master of his demons versus,
Yeah. Let me put it this way. Brian Edward Hill is better suited to someone like Batman than he is Superman.
Because you need to be uplifting. Like example, I was actually thinking about this when I was writing the characters. Like if I were to ever write a DC story, I would not write Superman. And even if I did write Superman, the reason I would write Superman is I would not touch him. I would literally have Superman be the icon that he is meant to be because he deserves no less. He absolutely deserves no less. And to try to tinker with that would be like example, my ideal DC story. This is going to be a pitch. I'll just pitch this to you guys. Maybe you guys can tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. My ideal Superman DC story is not even about the Justice League. It's actually about the crime syndicate. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now on this Earth, it begins like a traditional Justice League story. Superman saves the day it turns out Lex Luthor's developed some kind of nuclear device that actually is going to destroy all humans who carry the metagene. Even if they don't have powers, if they had potential to create a superhuman, they're all going to die. It's mass genocide, right? Mm-hmm. And basically he saves the day. He destroys the world. It's like if Superman saves the day, the Justice League wins, and then he gets this. Then Batman discovers this transmission that Lex had gotten a hold of, and then Superman takes it. He goes, I think it was meant for you, Clark. Superman takes it, and he looks at it. It's Lex. What the hell? But it's not Lex. It's Lex from Earth 3, the good Lex, the heroic Lex that everyone knows from Earth 3. Mm-hmm. And he tells of a world where the events that he just saved, that he just stopped, almost happened on his Earth too, but it was backwards. Because on my version of the crime syndicate would actually be, I mean, as I always say, I'm always the advocate of politics should never take place in comics, but if you are going to talk about it, it should never detract from the story. And one thing that I have noticed is that in our culture today, the one thing I have noticed is that a lot of horrendous people think they're actually doing good for the world in their own twisted view, right? Everyone is the hero in their own story, right? Mm-hmm. Well, Earth 3 would be no different. I personally think Ultraman, Owlman, Superwoman, Johnny Quick, even though they're clearly the evil versions of the Justice League, they wouldn't see themselves as bad guys. Mm-hmm. They really wouldn't. In fact, their tyranny and totalitarian state in their mind, they would just be saving the world. In fact, they would call themselves the Justice League, even if the rest of the world calls them the crime syndicate. Like in their minds, they're doing justice. And when they start out, they seem like they're kind of doing good thing, kind of, they're stopping a police brutality thing. They're stopping they're stopping muggings here and there. They're stopping, rape victims getting, et cetera, et cetera. And they're doing these, and they're putting people out of burning buildings. They're seemingly doing these heroic things, but then you start to see the cracks and then basically people taking them to task, like Lex Luthor's, like your Jokers, who actually is the Jester. Like Joker would be like a stand-up comedian in this Earth, and he basically takes Owlman to task. And he makes fun of him, right? Like he does like what Steven Crowder, what Dave Chappelle would do. He would just make fun of them, right? Mm-hmm. But then, of course, that, Owlman doesn't like that, so he throws him in a tank of acid. So, what does anyone do when he survives? It's like, wow, so he swears revenge. And so the Jester is a comedian, you do all these things, and they're actually doing what is noble. Like they're doing what, a lot of, the Gators, the comics Gators would do, and they would donate to charities and they would help people. They would do all these things. And while the crime syndicate gets all the public adulation, all that, they're really doing genuinely evil things until ultimately it all comes to a head. And that would be my take on Earth 3, basically. Whereas, and Superman being Superman would just look at this through his eyes. I don't think it would be fair to. And then, at the end of it, after all is said and done, it ends in a bar with the remainder of whoever survived coming together and just kind of raising a glass to whoever fallen. And they all think, well, where's Lex? He's throughout this whole thing. And then Lex is the last person to show up. He doesn't say a goddamn word. He was the one who stayed burying the rest. And he walks in and just pours a drink and says, we're done. And then the book ends on, we're done, And so that's kind of, that's that hell that we have wrought. If you want to talk about social commentary in a real world, but it has to track the story, then you have to think of the world in which you're dealing with. And if you're dealing with Earth 3, then the laws would be different. Bad is good, good is evil, right? Mm-hmm. And so that would, and I think Jeff Johns has also handled that in Doomsday Clock beautifully. There actually are a lot of real world allegories in Doomsday Clock, but they don't detract from the story at all.
Don't let Alan Moore hear you say that. He'll definitely get on your case for that one.
Oh, I know that. I know a lot of people are going to get on my case for that. And it's like, it's like the whole politics. Yeah, but if there has to be an entertainment value. I mean, I'm the one who advocates, like, there's nothing wrong with, having, your political views in a comic book, but you can't let it detract from the story at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And that's definitely. And that was and that's why, like, if I was to do that story, it's like, I do feel that is a story worth telling, but you can't let it detract. You can't let your own personal biases detract from how these characters interact. In reality, if you're dealing with the crime syndicate, they still got to be the crime syndicate, If you're dealing with, those kind of, if you're dealing with Ultraman and Owlman, you still got to, like, I was thinking, it's like, okay, well, how do I integrate what came before me? Well, Owlman was the bastard son of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Bruce Wayne is actually dead. And Superwoman is actually, even though she's the evil Wonder Woman, she's actually Lois Lane from that universe. Well, I thought, well, how would Lois Lane get Wonder Woman's powers? Well, what if she actually killed the actual Wonder Woman and took her powers?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that would be.
So did you guys? Huh?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, that would be that was the one thing that always bugged me about the crime syndicates. Super, like, Wonder Woman is actually, and their counter to Wonder Woman is actually Lois Lane. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. How? Considering it's Diana, she's supposed to be Diana, how is Lois suddenly an allegory for Diana? That doesn't make any friggin' sense. And then I thought to myself, well, what if Diana was still Diana, regardless of what universe she came from, and they killed her off for that, and then she took the powers for herself?
So have you guys heard about the new Blade Runner anime that's coming out?
There's a Blade Runner anime?
It's made by the creator of Cowboy Bebop.
Wait a minute. I think wait. I think I know what you're talking about. I think this was a little short film they put out to hype up 2049.
No,
they're partly right.
Yeah, I saw a trailer. I think I saw a trailer on YouTube.
It's a sequel to that series. So instead of doing a short, they're doing a full series in collaboration with Crunchyroll and Adult Swim.
Interesting.
It was a 15-minute short film, I think.
Yeah.
And now apparently they're doing a full OVA.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do, I think, probably 10 episodes, 12 episodes or so.
I mean, I'm of two minds on this. I mean, like, it could be cool, but on the other hand, it's like Blade Runner was really one of those movies that never should have gotten a sequel. But the narrative does not support a sequel.
I don't know about that.
Well, the thing is, a sequel. The thing with the narrative is it has a question that is not meant to be answered, and a sequel has to answer that question.
Well, 2049, I don't really consider. Well, to be fair, I don't really consider 2049 a sequel so much as a continuation that takes place, like, because there is a huge time gap between the two, right?
True.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like the big hook of the original Blade Runner is the question of, is Deckard human? And that question is not meant to be answered.
They don't answer it though.
It's not supposed to be answered.
Well, I don't think in 2049 that, to me, they didn't seem like they answered it.
They did.
What's that? Well, okay, so even if they did, it posed new questions. Oh, yeah, see, I didn't think they addressed it personally, but But even if they did, like you know, if you answer old questions, you can still bring up new questions to be had, you know, to explore.
Like,
for example,
it takes a competent writer to pull that off.
And they seeded it into the end of 2049 with the idea of the replicants starting a rebellion. I think.
I don't know. It's just like I'm kind of with Razorfest on this. It's just like that. Because what makes the original Blade Runner so special is how much it leaves ambiguous. It's not so much about what it means, more like what you take away from it.
If there's one I mean, before obviously we all actually it's funny we never talked about Star Wars. If there's one franchise, before, I mean, I wouldn't do it now that Disney's already fucking wrecked it. I wouldn't do it now, but you know, before Disney up and wrecked it, there was one franchise I always felt needed an anime treatment, specifically like in the style of like Gundam meets Bleach, the Old Republic.
Yeah, that could have worked, but yeah, like
you think about it, you look at Bleach's animation, like ignore the story for 5 minutes, but you remember the Soul Society arc, how like they were doing spiritual pressure and they were always upgrading their powers, and you saw like these forums were having these epic sword fights.
I know,
and then of course, like you could definitely have Jedi and Sith dealing with that. And then of course, Gundam had the space battles, but also the political intrigue, especially in like Gundam Wing. Like you had all these elements. I would say
more in what was it, Zeta Gundam? Definitely more in Zeta Gundam.
Oh yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. Like you get if those kind of concepts, that anime style, like between that and Bleach, they would work brilliantly within the confines of the Old Republic. When you're dealing with like cosmic force powers, you're dealing with incredible lightsaber duels, and all these other things. But you're also dealing with political intrigue, the warring factions, space combat, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. I guess I get what you're saying, but yeah.
Like that would have worked beautifully if you wanted to tell like the Mandalorian Wars, or heck, even the Great Galactic War, which is the lead up to the Old Republic MMO. Like you could actually, you could have told countless stories within those confines. But obviously, I wouldn't trust Disney with a 20-foot pole now.
I still say like if they wanted to make a sequel series, they had a sequel trilogy all set and ready to go. They just had to adapt the Thrawn books.
Why Disney? Yeah. Why?
All they had to do was just hit up
because they wanted to do their own stuff.
That's
some bullshit.
Take the Thrawn books, hand it off to some.
No, it's because Kathleen wanted to new characters and Disney characters, and her pro-feminist bullshit.
Horseshit.
Take the Thrawn books, hand it off to Lawrence Kasdan, and say, make this make sense in a movie.
Yeah, dude, it would have been so good, and it would have been able to keep all the extended universe canon. That the whole idea of throwing that was just such a ridiculous idea in the first place.
Just sit down, Timothy Zahn.
I think I opened up Pandora's box because like I said, I don't like talking about the Last Jedi because that puts me in a fury.
But yeah, just look at all they had to do was get Lawrence Kasdan and Timothy Zahn in a room and say, take Tim's books and make them into a screenplay.
Instead, but you know what? Then they'd have to give out their royalty checks. Oh, ho hum. And actually, yeah, they would have actually had to give out Timothy his royalty checks because he actually has part ownership of the Thrawn trilogy.
Nice.
So which means you realize that when they actually
because
and George, yeah. So it's like and Disney was like, well, we don't want to pay them and writers. And here's the thing with Hollywood screenwriters, you got to learn to know this really quickly about Hollywood screenwriters. They are egotistical as fuck.
What about George though?
How does
George was completely out. George washed his hands of this.
Yeah, but anyways, like Hollywood screenwriters.
No. Hold on. Okay. First off, George Lucas gets a royalty check every time his characters are used. That's why they're killing off the Star Wars best characters.
Remember, this is an alleged rumor. This is not confirmed. I want everyone to know that. It is alleged.
I wouldn't be surprised because George Lucas is he's a savvy businessman. He was the one who took the merchandising rights.
We all agree on that. Like I said, but I do want to preface that this is all at this point. We have to go take the Doomcock route. It's rumor. We don't actually know. This is all alleged, and while it makes sense, we can't necessarily take it as fact.
Yeah, we'd have to hear it officially from either Disney or George.
You don't want to get sued by Disney, that's for sure.
that.
Sorry,
but
Disney.
Also, it's like, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it was actually confirmed that Thrawn that Zahn has part ownership of Mara Jade, of Thrawn and all his characters. So it's like
Zahn owns Thrawn.
And so, which actually makes sense because, like, you know, that's probably why he has extreme creative input every time, you know, a Star Wars IP, including Rebels, used his work. That's probably why they shelled out a couple bucks, because they figured, well, if we use it on television and cartoons, then friggin', you know, we won't have to pay him nearly as much as if we were to put it in the movies. And we want to use these characters. They kind of bit the bullet and put Thrawn in there because they wanted to use the character, but they didn't want to do it in a big screen production because Disney were going to be looking at this and going, why are we giving this pathetic little novel writer royalty checks? Because, I'm sorry, Hollywood are egotistical little shitbags, particularly when it comes to screenwriters. Like Hollywood looks down on screenwriters, and screenwriters look down on every other kind of writer. So it's like, because they think, oh, we're writing for movies, we're better than you. Oh yes, in many ways. Get the fuck out of here.
And yet they still rang up Tim's phone to write that new Thrawn novel.
I know. Well, because novels, ancillary merchandise, right?
They're only legends now. They're not really part of the canon. They're only legends.
But here's the thing. I actually noticed that even Brian Edward Hill is not immune to this. Like, there are a lot of people who very much are using only comic books as a way station to then bump themselves up to screenwriting. That's what they're doing.
Brian actually started out in television.
Yeah, and then he went to
is a screenwriter.
But it's like, but even Brian Edward Hill's not immune. There are, like, I've seen some of his tweets. I mean, he's not. Like I said, I actually like the guy. I do. I really do. But there are moments where you start to see his TV and his screenwriting kind of thing, where he does kind of feel like he's above other creative talents. He doesn't always do it, but when he does, it's kind of just like he slips. Like, oh, you know. There is a bit of a lack of self-awareness in some of his tweets. I couldn't exactly pinpoint it, but there's definitely a veneer of like superiority. Not always, but it does crop up every so often. You know. Yeah. It's just the nature of Hollywood screenwriters. Like, they think that because they've worked on things that are seen by millions and billions of people, that they're better than, you know, a comic book writer or better than a novelist. And there's it's definitely present in Rian Johnson, because if you look, Last Jedi, I can't believe I have to bring this up. Last Jedi has so much ripped from the legacy of the Force novels, it's bordering on criminal. In fact, when he had to defend his decisions, he actually hid behind the Jedi Path reference book to say, oh, see, look, it's totally in the books. It's like, oh, you fucking little shit stain. It's almost like he read those books. A lot of people say, well, he didn't read those books. It's like, probably no, but it's almost like he read the Wikipedia of every single one of these things, looked at how they ended and said, I could do better than that. You ever seen the movie Gentlemen Broncos?
No, kids to death.
It's a Jared Hess produced film. It's from that Napoleon Dynamite style comedy. But basically,
I don't know.
It already sounds awful.
It is pretty awful. But it is perfectly true. It's like there's the main writer's this up and coming like writer. He goes to a science fiction writing camp. He writes a book called Bronco or something like that. And it's like, and basically he sends it out because he made the main character based on his dad who died when he was a kid, right? Well, this writer, turns out that the guy running the sci-fi camp decides that he can't find something for his book, so he looks at the submissions pile for the camp that he was running, and then all he does is he looks at the book and goes, I could do better than that, and changes like a little things here and there, and he turned Bronco from this like hyper masculine kind of like Conan the Barbarian type into a tranny. It was like, what the fuck? And even like they even point this out, and even the right, and when the kid walks up, he goes, you turned it into you stole my fucking story.
But you can't necessarily use that to say that all writers in Hollywood are like that, you know.
No, it's more of a stereotype. Obviously, identify like not everyone. I did point out Brian Edward Hill is a good example, but there definitely seems to be a sense of superiority that because they work in television or in movies that are going to see by millions and billions of people, that novels are beneath them.
Yeah,
it's like
no, I could see that.
There's definitely a veneer of I'm better. Yes, in many ways. That's why this is beloved, and that's why your movie is shit, Ryan.
So yeah, it's like. But yeah, I mean, like they just done that, we would have had a much better series of movies. I mean,
it would have been an accepted series of movies, but again, there is a sense of ego. It's like of course money's involved. obviously money is involved. But
Yeah,
you know, there's
they would have hated giving George and Timothy royalty checks. Like they would have hated it. But you know what? Think how much more money they probably would have made.
Yeah, but remember, you got to think of who, like I said, look at Clownfish TV is constantly reporting on Disney parks. Like, look how many times the Imagineers have been screwed over in order to save a buck, or Bob Iger jumping in and saying, let's make this about the sequel trilogy. It's like, even though everyone was going, guys, we're making the original trilogy and this is going to make money. What are you doing?
Gorgonite Emissary also says at Wikid Publishing, George still gets royalties from any extended universe material, hence why they got nuked.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Yeah,
that makes sense because
he signed the check, so yeah, that makes sense.
What were you gonna say, Canal?
I was going to say that.
Man, at this point, it's like George has got all the money he could ever need. It's like,
what are you saying, Canal?
Yeah, real quick. I wanted to hear what you said about that.
yeah, man.
I kind of forgot, but I was going to say that they nuked entire like almost all armies and factions and storylines that could have been perfectly used for the sequel trilogy.
Like I said, the Thrawn trilogy was a perfect.
Yeah,
the
Thrawn trilogy. I mean, the Yuuzhan
books.
It was their eternal quest to save a buck and try to make money on their own merits that actually came back to haunt them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if they had used like established characters and factions like I don't know the Mandalorians or the Yuuzhan Vong, they would have made a ton of money because the books made money. I mean, that's the only thing you needed to do, adapt the already existing.
In fact, they're re-releasing the games on Switch right now, Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy.
And it gets even better now. They're pirouetting. They're bringing in Mara Jade, and it's like
rumor.
Okay, rumor. And I still stand by this statement. When I saw that on Twitter, the only thought going through my head was, if you were going to use characters in the Thrawn books, why didn't you just adapt that?
That was my first thought. My other thought was because Mara Jade, people like a lot of even Star Wars purists don't like me for this, but it's like, even though I am technically a Star Wars purist, but Mara Jade is my favorite Star Wars character, which is why I always laugh my ass off whenever saying it's like, you're just scared of women. My favorite Star Wars character is a woman, you idiots. But then of course, the constant backdrop. Apparently, Kathleen Kennedy allegedly hates Mara Jade.
Jeez.
Why?
Really?
Allegedly. I don't know. All I've heard, it's somewhere in the grapevine. Apparently, she hates Mara Jade with a passion. I don't know why. I do not know why. She just does.
George, what have you done to us?
Strong woman, man.
I feel like, can we all agree that we wish George was back?
If I had to guess, Mara Jade represents, because everyone knows Rey is Kathleen Kennedy's self-insert. Like, we all know that, in the same way that Luke and Anakin were George at different points in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's no surprise that
I don't get too far into this.
It's no surprise.
It's best not to look that deep,
Yeah, but everyone, like, it's common knowledge that Luke Skywalker. I mean, heck, he's named after George, for crying out loud. Luke
You're gonna have to walk me through that one.
Yeah, they used to call him Luke in film school, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Luke is very much based after George. It's like George, specifically George growing up.
Wow.
So it's like, it's no surprise. So it's no surprise that Kathleen would do this, and they've said that multiple times. Like, it's so many times.
Luke is himself as a young man.
Exactly. So it's like, it's no surprise.
So if Luke is George as a young man, then was Rey supposed to be Kathleen as a young lady? Like,
if you think about it, she was the producer of Spielberg, so she was the counter pusher. She thought she was better than everyone, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, she gets all the power. She gets handed everything, and all of a sudden, she's the boss of everybody.
Jeez.
Holy fucking shit! When you actually think about it.
Damn.
Well, I guess we are getting close to the end of our time here.
Yeah, I got
We'll start wrapping up.
Yeah.
I have one thing to add before that, like one final tangent. This is one final one. The point about that is, I think the reason I think she hates, if I had to guess, it's the same reason I've heard a lot of feminist people in the cosplay circles why they don't like Mara Jade, or rather they're a little antsy on Mara Jade, because Mara Jade represents a strong, confident, upright, but still very distinctly sexy and feminine woman who can slip into any role on a whim. They don't see themselves necessarily as that. So they see themselves as the shy, timid, kind of butt-knit, no personality, shut down, internalized character like Rey. They say, and I think the word that one of them used on me was the term, they see Mara as a fighting fuck doll.
Huh?
That's why men like Mara Jade, because she's a fighting fuck doll.
That's
That's what I've heard. I've heard that term
That is
used
very
before.
strange.
That is kind of like, wow, that's demeaning to the women. That's very demeaning to other women who actually see themselves as very bold, upright, confident, sassy, no nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that is very demeaning, but it's like, but apparently because men are attracted to the woman who can kick their ass as well as be gorgeous and fight back, that, and that they can see themselves having sex with. It's like, wow. So you're going to judge men's tastes in women and, I can't relate to that. So I'm not going to like this character. Oh, get out of here. Like, fuck off. I mean, how many characters have been like that over the years? Not just Mara, but like, Lois Lane was that kind of character. Friggin' Wonder Woman is that kind of character,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and yet I don't see you guys friggin' ragging on Lois and fucking Wonder Woman. I don't see you ragging on these characters. Why is it Mara Jade? Oh, because she's got red hair and a slinky black jumpsuit? Get out of here. Catwoman has that. I don't see you guys bagging on her all of a sudden. Like, it's this weird ass double standard. It's probably because men have propped up Mara to the point of like no return, which, she's one of our favorite characters. Because men like her, we can't like her. Get out of here.
Like, well, that's the feminist mindset, isn't it? If men like you, you're doing something wrong.
Apparently, like that just seems to be the general tone. So it's like, so if men don't like Rey, we can suddenly like her. Get out of here! Fuck off!
It's the roll of the dice.
That's called, we call that Clown World. This is Clown World.
Clown World? You mean It? It Part 2?
Honk.
It's we're living in It Part 2 right now.
We all float in Clown World.
Oh yeah, we'll all float. You will too.
It Part 2 or Joker, actually, no, it would be Joker because now all of a sudden, we love the Joker. He's great. He's gorgeous. He's everything. He's laugh. He's maniacal. He's crazy. And all of a sudden, because Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker as society beat the shit out of him, and all of a sudden he's killing people. Oh my God, he's a white male mask shooter metaphor. Rad.
But remember that Harley Quinn is perfectly okay.
Fuck out of here. Get out of here with this garbage.
What was perfectly okay, Ibai?
Harley Quinn,
Oh yeah. Well, hey, not even because apparently in from what I understand in Birds of Prey, her words they are going for a less male gazy tone with the character.
Yeah.
Again, if men like you, if men like you, you're doing something wrong. You must be pleasant to men to be good.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's disgusting. And it's actually funny. People I just realized, I don't know if you guys know this, but you know who's playing Black Canary in the Birds of Prey movie?
Do I want to know?
You will laugh as soon as I start saying it. But you don't know who's playing Black Canary? The sister of Juicy Smouye.
Come on.
Yeah.
I kid you not. It's real. Look it up. It's real.
Is she French?
Steve, has to be French. I mean, her last name is Smouye. No, seriously, her last name is
it's Matt, you need to get going. We can start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
I guess we've
gone on for about 3 hours. So
sorry, guys. I wanted to let Wes get his last point in. So I wanted to make sure we had time for that. I see a lot of staring faces. I'm not sure I quite understand what it looks like they're looking upwards. So it kind of looks like you guys are all looking over at like the comments or something.
Rolling our eyes.
Oh, is that what that is? Rolling your eyes? Yeah. Harsh. Look, you're making Neostar cry.
Yeah,
look at you guys, you're making Neostar cry.
We just don't care.
Aww. All right, well, if you heard it straight from the Mythoverse, we gotta go, guys. So please, can we find out where we can follow you guys online, and so we can follow your adventures and all that stuff?
Do want to get one thing in before we knock off. 21st, we're going to be doing a special live stream at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard, noon Eastern Standard, for the launch of our books. So yeah, we'll be, which then will be followed by a marathon of the Heisei Gamera trilogy in our Discord. So if you're there, we'll be streaming from Cast for that.
Nice, man. And so that's going to be on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, the live stream the live stream for us will be done on our YouTube channel. So
there's a link up on the screen.
Celebrating us making our debut date.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Hell yeah, dude. That's so exciting.
Yeah. Right, well, you guys can.
What's that?
It says right here the Neostar. It says right here. It says that Neostar's crying about more Smollett nonsense.
Oh, okay. So that's a separate issue. Sorry, we can't help you with that.
Okay.
All right, you guys
You're
can
on your
follow
own,
me
buddy.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Charger Collins. You can follow. Marvel is back, sort of, on Twitter. As I don't remember what his Twitter handle is though, but I do look up Troy Vader. If you guys want to bug out his stuff, and then of course you can also look at Catherine Ellis's work on Crank Rat Cat. And Alex Bayless I can't remember what her Twitter handle is. I think it's Alex Bayless for CU or something like that. Let me look that up.
Mm-hmm. Why are we quiet now?
I don't know. It was weird.
Because someone's Googling.
I thought Wes was looking something up. Sorry.
I thought someone summoned the spirit of dead air.
I think they did. I think that's who just left the party was actually the spirit of dead air there. Goodbye, spirit of dead air, and I think they took Wes. I think they took Wes with them. So, what about you, you Mythoverse guys? Where can people follow you guys online? Oh, Wes is back. Hello, Wes.
I got disconnected.
Yeah.
I was trying to look up the Twitter handles, then my phone went, "Nope, you're not doing that. Get the fuck out of here."
You can find me at Celtic Brett.
Celtic, no underscore anymore.
No, there's no one. There wasn't. There
was never an underscore.
There was never an underscore. It's always been one word.
Don't listen to me, people. He's lying. I'm lying. So there's Celtic Brett, and then what about you, Matt? Where can people follow you?
Matt, follow me on at Matt Trent on Twitter. Yep. Now what, Brett?
We thought we lost you there for a second.
I'm here. It wasn't the first time.
Hopefully, it's the last time.
Indeed.
No guarantees.
Well, so.
Pretty much. And then, what about you, Ibai? Since we're unfortunately seeing you absent from Twitter these days.
Yeah. I can say I miss it. I miss my Twitter friends, but I don't miss the insanity so much. But I guess I will appoint a representative sometime soon when I begin working in the new projects that will need to be promoted there. And in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Ibai Canales there. I'm pretty recognizable over there. And we can be friends on Facebook too, because I'm friends with everyone.
Friends with everyone, huh?
Yeah, I'm even friends with Troy Vader too.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So here's your Instagram. So what kind of stuff do you post on Instagram? Just photos and things like that?
Yeah, when Zach lets me, because for some reason he doesn't want me to promote Iron Sights too. I don't know why. Go figure. But
keeping it under wraps, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. You can tell that the guy's pretty sure about the fact that he's going to make money, that he doesn't even need to promote his projects on social media.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that'll be cool. Well, hopefully we can get you on the next episode so we can talk some more about Iron Sights 2 and some of the other projects you got going on.
I'll be delighted.
Nice, man. Excellent. Well, is there anything else we got before we head out for tonight? For the day?
That's it.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks again for joining us on the Wikid Weekend podcast. I appreciate it. Check us out if you're in the Fairfield area tomorrow for our next convention. And on Monday, we have a live stream with Wrath creator Scott, and we're going to be talking about his new book hitting Indiegogo on Monday. And next Saturday, we have a indie spotlight on The Ferryman with creator Sean Campbell. So a lot of things to look forward to. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you guys next time, and enjoy your rest of your Wikid Weekend. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Talk to you later.